God has already spoken over your life, and tonight is the night that you will see the manifestation of what He has promised. Your journey has not been in vain. Through the trials, the tests, the long nights of uncertainty, God has been with you, leading you, strengthening you. You may have doubted at times, you may have questioned whether this moment would ever come, but now you stand at the threshold of a divine breakthrough. You see, the key to unlocking what's rightfully yours has always been within you. It was never about your circumstances or the people around you. It was always about your ability to believe in the unseen, to trust in the voice that speaks to your heart, even when the world tells you it's impossible. Tonight, that belief will be rewarded. God has already decreed it. His word cannot fail. His promises are sure. And right now, at this very moment, you are stepping into the fullness of what He has promised you. You have passed the test. The storm you've weathered has been preparation. The battles you've fought, the pain you've endured, and the patience you've learned, all of it has shaped you into who you are today. And today, the door of opportunity swings wide open. You are no longer the person you were yesterday. The person who doubted, the person who feared, the person who struggled. Tonight, you will see the fruit of your perseverance. What you've asked for is on its way, but it is not just what you've asked for. It is more than that. It is what you've become in the process. You have learned how to trust when there was no reason to, how to believe when the world told you it was foolish. And that trust, that unwavering faith, has positioned you for the blessing that is coming tonight. The world may not see it yet, but in the realm of the Spirit has already been done. God has already prepared the way. What was once invisible is about to become visible. The doors that seem closed will swing wide open. The people who seem to block your path will begin to clear the way. The very things that were meant to break you will now become the stepping stones for your promotion. You are chosen. You have been set apart for such a time as this. And as you stand on the edge of what is about to unfold, do not let fear or doubt creep in. What is coming is not too much for you. It is exactly what you've been prepared for. You will not fail. You will not fall short. You will rise, and you will rise higher than you've ever dreamed. Your reward is not just in the physical things that are coming, but in the peace, the joy, and the unwavering confidence in knowing that God has never let you down, and He never will. So stand firm tonight, stand in expectation, stand in faith. Your reward is here. It is not just a promise for the future, it is a reality for tonight. You've passed the test, and now the manifestation of everything you have believed in is about to unfold. You are ready. The time is now. You have made it through what many would have considered impossible. The trials that once seemed insurmountable now serve as proof of your strength, your resilience, and your unwavering belief. It wasn't always easy, was it? The tears, the heartache, the days when you felt alone. But now you understand something profound. It was all a part of the process. Each struggle, each challenge was shaping you into the person you needed to become in order to carry the weight of the blessing that is coming your way. Tonight, your reward is coming. You've been chosen for this. This isn't a coincidence or random happenstance. You were always meant to stand in this moment to experience this divine unfolding. The very things you've longed for, prayed for, and believed in are now entering your life. Not because of anything you've done to earn them, but because you have trusted God in the silence, in the waiting, and in the storm. When you were uncertain, God was sure. When you couldn't see the path ahead, He already had it paved. When your heart grew weary, His strength carried you. And now, as you stand on the cusp of this incredible reward, know that all of heaven is rejoicing with you. You are not stepping into this moment alone. God is with you, guiding you and filling you with His power and His grace. As you reflect on your journey, consider how far you've come. There was a time when you doubted you would even make it this far. The challenges seemed too great, the opposition too strong, yet here you are, stronger, wiser, and more grounded in your faith than ever before. Those very obstacles that were meant to break you have only served to build you. They have refined your character, deepened your trust in God, and elevated your spiritual awareness. You see, it's not just about the material blessings that are coming. It's about the transformation that has taken place in your heart, mind, and spirit. You've learned to stand firm in the midst of chaos. You've learned to believe even when the evidence suggested otherwise. You've learned to speak things into existence, to declare that what God has promised He will bring to pass. And now you will see it. You will see what has been spoken over your life. You will see the manifestation of everything you've believed and hoped for. There's a reason why tonight is so significant. It's not just another night. It's the night that God has ordained for your breakthrough. It's the moment when the heavens open and pour down the blessings you've been waiting for. It's the moment when your prayers are answered, when your dreams are realized, when your heart is filled with the joy and peace that only God can give. You have been faithful in the small things, and now God is about to reward you with greater things. Your obedience, your perseverance, your trust in Him have positioned you for this. This is not a reward you could have earned by your own strength or effort. It's a divine reward, a manifestation of God's grace, mercy, and love for you. His timing is perfect, and tonight His timing is unfolding in your life. You might be wondering how it will all happen. How will the doors open? How will the blessings pour in? Understand this: when God moves, He moves in ways you cannot predict. He is not bound by time, space, or circumstances. What may seem impossible to the natural eye is easy for God. He has already made a way for you, a way that will surpass your expectations. As you stand in faith, know that God is already moving behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail of your life for your good. If something you need to understand in this moment, the reward that is coming is not just for you alone. It is meant to bless others, to show others the power of God's love and grace. You were chosen not just for your own blessing, but to be a beacon of hope and light to those around you. Your victory will inspire others to believe that they too can overcome. Your testimony will serve as proof that nothing is impossible for God, that no matter how dark the season, joy comes in the morning. This is your moment of elevation. You are stepping into a new chapter of your life, a chapter where God's promises are no longer just words spoken over you, but are now manifesting in your reality. You are being elevated to a higher level. Your dreams are no longer distant hopes, but tangible realities that you can touch, see, and experience. This is the reward for your faithfulness, for your trust, for your unwavering belief that God will fulfill His promises. And even as you step into this new season, understand that your journey is far from over. This is not the end, this is just the beginning. What God has in store for you is greater than anything you could have imagined. The reward you're receiving tonight is only a taste of what's to come. As you continue to walk in faith, continue to trust, continue to believe, God will take you from glory to glory. He will lead you to places you never thought possible, opening doors that no man can shut and pouring out blessings that will overflow. The best part is that you are ready for it. You have passed the test. You have proven that you can handle the blessing that is coming your way. God does not give to those who are unprepared. He does not pour out His promises on those who are not ready to receive them. But you are ready, your heart is open, your faith is strong, and your mind is aligned with God's purpose for your life. You are prepared for this divine manifestation. The reward you will receive tonight is not just something that will add to your life, it will change your life. It will transform you in ways that only God can. Your understanding of what is possible will shift. Your perspective will expand. You will no longer look at the world through the same eyes. You will see the world through God's eyes. And you will begin to realize that nothing is impossible for you. Your reward is not just the manifestation of your desires. It is the realization that you are a co-creator with God, that what you speak, believe, and trust in will come to pass. You are walking in divine alignment with your purpose, and tonight, that alignment will bear fruit. So as this night unfolds, hold on to the truth that God has spoken over your life. Hold on to the promise that He has made. Tonight is your night. The manifestation of all that you have believed in is happening. What you've been waiting for is coming to pass. Your faith has made you whole. Your trust in God has opened the floodgates of heaven. You are chosen, and tonight your reward is being poured out in abundance. Stand firm in the knowledge that this is just the beginning, and what is coming is far greater than you could have ever imagined. You are on the precipice of something extraordinary, and it will happen tonight. Tonight, the divine plan is coming into full motion. You've endured, you've believed, and now the heavens are aligning to bring the reward that you've been patiently waiting for. All of the struggles, all the heartache, all the challenges you faced, none of it was in vain. It was all leading to this moment. You passed the test. You've been proven worthy of what is about to unfold. As you stand here at this moment in time, know that everything is in place for your blessing, for your reward. The wait, the long seasons of not knowing, the periods where you felt uncertain and wondered if it would ever happen, have all been part of your preparation. It may have felt like nothing was changing, like you were standing still while the world moved around you, but God was working behind the scenes. You may not have seen it, but He was moving in ways you couldn't comprehend. Every step you took, every moment you stood in faith, even when it seemed impossible, was setting the stage for what is to come tonight. The victory that you are about to experience was already secured in the spiritual realm long before you ever saw the evidence of it in your physical world. Tonight is a manifestation. It's the realization of everything you believed for, the dreams that once felt distant, the promises you once held on to in the quiet moments, the prayers you whispered in the stillness of your heart. Tonight, they all come to fruition. You are stepping into the fullness of what God has for you. This is the moment you've been prepared for, and you are ready. You have been chosen to receive, and the heavens are pouring down blessings just for you. The reward you are about to receive is not just material, it's also spiritual. It's a gift of peace, a deeper understanding, and a newfound clarity that will illuminate every area of your life. The manifestation that is unfolding is not just about what you can see, but what you can feel, what you can know in your spirit. God is giving you a deeper connection, a stronger relationship with Him that will lead you through every season of life with a sense of purpose and direction that you've never known before. When you look back at where you've come from, remember this: you passed through the fire and it has refined you. The trials you've experienced were not meant to break you, but to strengthen you, to purify you, to prepare you for the greatness that is now at your doorstep. The pain you felt, the tears you've shed, were not wasted. They were part of your spiritual growth. And now you stand here, ready to receive everything that God has prepared for you. And now you stand here, ready to receive everything that God has prepared for you. This is not just your reward. It's the reward for your faith, for your endurance, for your trust in God, even when you couldn't see the way ahead. What you are stepping into tonight is more than just a blessing. It is a divine alignment. It is the perfect convergence of your faith, your actions, and God's timing. You see, this isn't just about receiving something material, it's about receiving the fullness of God's plan for your life. The path you've walked, the journey you've taken, has been leading you to this moment. Your faith has been the compass, and God has been guiding you every step of the way. And as you step into this reward, you need to remember one thing: this is just the beginning. Tonight is not the culmination of your journey, it is the next step. You are being elevated to a new level. The blessings you will receive tonight will open doors to even greater blessings, greater opportunities, and greater understanding. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one that is filled with God's favor and His grace. This reward is not the end of the story. It is the foundation upon which your future will be built. You may not see it all yet, but as you continue to walk in faith, continue to trust in God's plan, you will see how everything fits together perfectly. The dreams you've carried in your heart for so long will start to take shape in ways that will astound you. What you thought was impossible will become a reality. What you thought was out of reach will now be within your grasp. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is here, and it will unfold before your very eyes. But this reward, this manifestation is not just for you, it's for those around you too. You are not only receiving this blessing to enjoy it for yourself, it is meant to be a testimony of God's goodness, a witness to His power and His grace. As you step into this reward, others will see the power of God's hand at work in your life. Your testimony will serve as a beacon of hope for those who are still waiting, still wondering if their time will come. You will be a living example of God's faithfulness, and through you, others will be encouraged to keep believing, to keep pressing forward, to keep trusting. You are being elevated for a reason. This reward is not just for your personal benefit, it is for the glory of God. You have been chosen to carry His light, to share His love, and to be a witness to the world of His faithfulness. Your reward is a reflection of His goodness, and as you receive it, know that it is meant to be shared. As you are blessed, others will be blessed by your story, your faith, and your testimony. You have passed through the fire, and you are now stepping into your reward. The journey has been long, but the rewards are great. God has seen your faithfulness, your perseverance, and your trust, and now He is honoring that with His blessing. Your reward is here, and it will not be withheld. It is coming to you tonight. What you have asked for is already on its way. What you have believed for is being manifest in your life right now. The wait is over. As you stand in this moment, remember, you are not just receiving a blessing for yourself. You are receiving it for the glory of God. You are stepping into a new season of favor, of abundance, of divine alignment. This is the moment where everything changes. What once seemed impossible will now be made possible. The doors that once seemed closed will now open wide. The mountains that once stood in your way will now be moved. Tonight you are walking into the manifestation of everything you have prayed for. This is not just about receiving what you've asked for, it's about receiving the fullness of God's plan for your life. You are stepping into a new dimension of favor, of purpose, and of destiny. What God has in store for you is greater than anything you could have imagined, and tonight you will see it begin to unfold before your eyes. The reward you receive tonight is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of something even greater. As you receive, as you step into this moment of divine manifestation, know that this is just the beginning of the journey. What is coming is greater than anything you have ever dreamed, and you are ready to walk in it. You have been chosen for this moment, and you will not be denied. The doors are opening, the ways being made, and your reward is here. You've made it through seasons of uncertainty, and now the moment has come for your reward. The divine clock is ticking, and every second of your journey, every prayer you've whispered in quiet moments has been building up to this point. Every step you've taken in faith, no matter how small, has led you closer to this manifestation. The reward you are about to receive is not just about the fulfillment of your desires, it is the completion of a divine purpose. Tonight, you are being positioned to receive not only a personal blessing, but also a message of hope for those who are still waiting for their breakthrough. God sees you. He sees every tear you've shed, every sacrifice you've made, and every moment you've walked in faith when it seemed like nothing was changing. And tonight, in His perfect timing, He is bringing the manifestation of His promises into your life. You are not being rewarded for your ability to see the outcome, but for your unwavering trust in Him. The reward is a testament to your obedience, your surrender, and your commitment to walk in His light, even when the path was unclear. It was your faith that moved mountains. And tonight, you will see that faith come to life. This reward is coming at the exact right time. Many have questioned, many have doubted, but God's timing is always perfect. It's not about when you think it should happen. It's about when God has prepared you to receive. This moment has been long in the making, and everything that has occurred in your life up until now was part of the divine plan. You have passed through trials to come out stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the purpose God has for your life. You are now ready to receive what has been waiting for you. Your reward will come in ways that you may not expect. It may show up in the form of a new opportunity, a shift in your circumstances, or a deeper understanding of your purpose. It may come in the form of a healing, a restoration, or a new level of peace and fulfillment that you have never experienced before. But no matter how it comes, it will come. The reward is certain, it is already ordained, it is already prepared for you, and all you need to do now is receive it. Tonight, as you prepare to step into your reward, let go of any doubts that still linger in your heart. Release any lingering fear or hesitation. God has already spoken, and His word does not return void. You may not yet see the full picture, but know that everything is falling into place. This is the divine moment where heaven touches earth, where your prayers are answered, and where the promises of God are made manifest in your life. This is not just a blessing for you, but for everyone who has witnessed your journey. For those who have walked alongside you, who have seen your struggles and your victories, your reward will be a sign of God's faithfulness to them as well. You are not just a vessel for your own blessings. You are a beacon of hope to others. Your journey, your faith, your perseverance are testaments to the power of trusting in God's plan. When others see you receive your reward, they will know that God is still in the business of miracles. They will know that He is faithful, that He hears the cries of His people, and that He is still working wonders in the lives of those who trust in Him. When you receive this reward, understand that it is not just about what you prayed for. It's a reflection of the heart of God towards you. You are His beloved, His child, and He has heard your cries. He knows the desires of your heart, and tonight He is fulfilling them. This is not a reward based on your merit, but based on His grace. It's a gift, freely given, a manifestation of His love for you. You are receiving not because you've earned it, but because He has chosen to bless you. And this blessing is not a small thing. It is the beginning of something even greater, something more profound than you could have imagined. As you receive, don't forget to give thanks. This is a moment of great joy, but also of deep gratitude. Thank God for bringing you through every trial, for refining you in the fire, for teaching you to trust when it was difficult, and for never abandoning you. Your reward is a reflection of His love and His faithfulness, and it's important to honor Him with a heart of gratitude. The Bible says, "Every good and perfect gift is from above," and tonight you are receiving one of those good and perfect gifts. What is coming is not only a reward for what you've endured, but a seed for the future. This reward is meant to propel you forward into your next season. It's the fuel that will keep your faith burning brightly as you continue on your journey. The doors that are opening to you tonight will lead to even greater opportunities, greater growth, and greater transformation. What you receive tonight is just the beginning of a new chapter in your life. It is a launch pad for the next phase of your destiny. You will look back on this moment, and you will realize that everything changed from tonight forward. What you are receiving tonight is not just a one-time blessing. It is the beginning of a new era. You are stepping into a new level of favor, a new level of anointing, and a new level of divine alignment. As you step into this new season, remember that the reward you're receiving is only the beginning of the abundance that God has in store for you. This reward is a declaration that your waiting has not been in vain. Every moment you spent in anticipation, every moment you wondered if it would ever come to pass, God has seen it. He has watched your faith grow, your patience deepen, and your trust in Him solidify. He knows your heart, and He knows how much you've longed for this moment. And now He is answering you. In the coming days, you will begin to see the full extent of what God has done. You will witness the unfolding of a beautiful tapestry, one that has been woven with His grace and His wisdom. You will see how all the pieces of your life have fit together, even the difficult moments, the ones you didn't understand at the time. They were all part of God's perfect plan. And now you are standing at the threshold of the manifestation of everything He has promised you. But as you step into this reward, don't forget that it is not just for you. It is for those around you as well. You are a vessel of blessings, and as you receive, others will be blessed by your testimony. Your faith will be a light that shines brightly for others to follow. Your journey will inspire others to trust, to believe, and to hold fast to God's promises. As you walk in the fullness of your reward, let it be a testimony to the world of God's goodness, His grace, and His unwavering faithfulness. Tonight is your night. The reward you've been waiting for is here, and it is more than you could have imagined. It's a gift from God, freely given, and all you have to do is receive it. Know that everything you have gone through has led to this moment. You are ready. You are worthy. You have passed the test, and now it's time to step into the fullness of your reward. The heavens are rejoicing, and so should you. Your victory is here. Your time has come. The reward you are about to receive tonight is not just the result of a prayer answered, but the culmination of a season of transformation. You have been molded, shaped, and refined for this moment. What is coming into your life now is the direct result of the work God has been doing in you. It's the reward for your growth, your perseverance, and your steadfast faith in a time of uncertainty. The road was never meant to be easy, but every hardship you endured, every moment of doubt you overcame, and every obstacle you faced has prepared you to step into the fullness of God's promises. The beauty of divine timing is that it doesn't operate according to human understanding. While we may think we're ready for something, God knows exactly when the time is right. The years of waiting, the seasons of silence, and the periods when you felt as though nothing was happening, they were all part of a larger plan. They were the moments when God was preparing your heart to handle the blessings that are now being poured into your life. You may not have understood why you had to wait, why things unfolded in the way they did, but now, as you stand on the threshold of this reward, you can see that it was all necessary. Tonight marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. You have moved past the barriers that once limited you. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are now mere stepping stones to the great things ahead. What's coming into your life tonight is not just a fleeting blessing, but a permanent change. It is the fruit of years of waiting, praying, and trusting in a God who never fails. You've walked through the fire, and now you will wear the crown that is the result of your faithfulness. You are about to see how every prayer you've ever uttered, every tear you've shed, every sacrifice you've made has led to this moment. You are being rewarded not just for what you've done, but for who you've become. This is not about the things you've achieved in the natural sense, but about the transformation that has taken place in your soul. The reward is a reflection of the inner work you've done, the times you've chosen peace over anger, love over hatred, patience over frustration. It's a reflection of your unwavering commitment to seek God's will and trust in His timing. Your reward is not just material, it's a deep internal shift that will affect every area of your life. It's a change of heart, a deepening of faith, and a fresh perspective that will allow you to walk in the full authority and purpose that God has ordained for you. What is unfolding for you tonight is not the result of human effort, but of divine grace. You've worked hard, yes, but it is God's grace that has carried you. It is His grace that has opened doors that were once closed. It is His grace that has led you through seasons of wilderness and into the promised land of your destiny. You are stepping into this reward because of His favor, and it's time for you to accept it fully. You are worthy not because of anything you have done, but because God has chosen you and His favor is upon you. The divine order of your life has been set in motion, and now the manifestation is at hand. What you are about to receive will not just bless you, but will serve as a testimony to the goodness of God. Your reward will shine as a beacon to those around you, letting them know that if God can do it for you, He can do it for them. Your faith will be a witness, your story will inspire, and your victory will give others hope. You are being rewarded not just for your own sake, but for the sake of all those who will be impacted by your testimony. This moment is a divine intersection of your faith and God's will. When you first believed, when you first took the step of faith, you couldn't have known how the story would unfold. But God did. He saw every moment, every step, every challenge, and He knew that you were capable of enduring. Tonight, as you step into your reward, you are also stepping into a new season of influence, a new season of impact, and a new season of divine favor. You are now walking in alignment with God's plan for your life. This is the result of you saying yes to His will even when it didn't make sense. You didn't give up when it was hard. You didn't stop trusting when it seemed impossible. And now God is rewarding you for your faithfulness. Your reward will come in ways that you can't even imagine, but it will be exactly what you need. It will be a perfect fit for your life, your purpose, and your future. Don't think for a second that your journey was in vain. Every prayer you prayed, every moment of waiting, every setback and triumph, every small step forward, all of it has led to this moment. It wasn't always easy. You didn't always see the outcome, but your trust in God never wavered. And now you are walking in the harvest of your faith. Your reward is evidence of God's faithfulness to those who walk in His ways. As you receive your reward tonight, remember that this is not just for you. It's a blessing for your family, your friends, and all those who have supported you along the way. Your reward is a ripple effect that will touch many lives. It will create a wave of blessings that will flow out of your life and into the lives of others. The impact of your faith is far-reaching, and what you receive tonight will be a seed that multiplies and grows. God has a purpose for this blessing. It is not just for your own benefit, but to advance His kingdom. This reward is a part of the bigger picture that God is painting in your life. It is a piece of the puzzle that will bring you closer to fulfilling the destiny He has set before you. You are being rewarded tonight because you have passed through the fire and come out refined, ready to carry out the work God has for you. Your reward is not just about what you've achieved, but about who you've become in the process. The challenges you faced, the mountains you climbed, the storms you weathered, those were all part of God's preparation for this moment. He knew that you were ready, and now He is bringing you into your promise. Your journey has not been in vain. Every trial, every test, every challenge has been a stepping stone to the manifestation of His promises. And now, as you step into your reward, you can stand tall, knowing that you have persevered and that God is pleased with your faith. Tonight, as you receive what God has prepared for you, know that this is just the beginning. This reward is the opening of a new chapter, a new season, a new opportunity to step into all that God has for you. Your best days are ahead, and the reward you're receiving tonight is only the beginning of the abundant blessings that God has stored up for you. It's time for you to walk in the fullness of His promise, to embrace the life He has planned for you, and to shine as a light to the world. As you stand on the edge of this moment, remember that you are not standing alone. God is with you. His favor surrounds you. His hand is upon your life, guiding you, protecting you, and leading you into all that He has prepared for you. Your reward is a testimony to His goodness, and it is a reflection of His love for you. Tonight you are being rewarded not because of your own strength or ability, but because God has seen your faith, your trust, and your perseverance, and He is honoring that. Receive the blessing that is coming to you tonight. Embrace it, walk in it, and know that this reward is a sign of even greater things to come. The best is yet to come. And this moment is just the beginning of all that God has in store for you. The doors that are opening for you tonight will lead to even greater opportunities, even greater breakthroughs, and even greater manifestations of His glory. This is your time. Your reward is here. The season of waiting is over. The season of receiving has begun. Tonight, as you receive the reward, know that it is a direct result of your commitment to God's will for your life. This is the moment when the seeds you've planted through faith, sacrifice, and trust finally bear fruit. The moments you spend praying in silence, standing firm in your beliefs, and choosing faith over fear, each one of those moments has led you to this place. It wasn't easy, and there were times you may have felt discouraged, but in those moments you chose to remain steadfast. Now God is showing you just how important those moments were as He pours out His reward upon you. This isn't just about the material blessings that are coming into your life. It's much deeper than that. What God is rewarding tonight is the transformation that has taken place in your heart. It's the spiritual growth, the understanding of His will, and the inner peace that you've gained. You've learned to trust in His timing, even when the world told you to rush. You've learned to believe in His plan, even when your circumstances told you that it wasn't possible. And now God is rewarding your patience, your perseverance, and your unwavering belief. The reward is not simply a result of what you have done, but a manifestation of the work God has done in you. It is a reflection of the divine partnership that has been at work in your life. You didn't make it this far on your own. God has been walking with you every step of the way, even when you couldn't see Him. He has been guiding you, refining you, and preparing you for this very moment. You are the result of His love, His grace, and His faithfulness. And now, the reward He is giving you tonight is the outward expression of everything that has been happening inside you. As you stand on the edge of this new chapter, remember that this reward is not just for you, but for everyone who will be impacted by your life. Your faithfulness has not only changed you, it has changed the world around you. The blessings you are receiving are not just for your benefit, but for the advancement of God's kingdom. Your testimony will inspire others, your success will open doors for those who come behind you, and your example will show others what is possible when you trust God with everything. This is not the end, this is only the beginning. The reward that is coming into your life tonight is just the first wave of many more to come. This moment is a divine milestone, a sign that the harvest is here, but is also an indicator that there is even greater abundance on the way. God's plans for you are far greater than you can imagine, and what you are receiving tonight is merely a glimpse of what is yet to come. As you embrace the blessings that are pouring into your life, know that they will multiply and expand in ways you can't yet fathom. The challenges you faced along the way were not meaningless. Every trial, every heartache, every tear you shed was a part of your preparation for this moment. Each struggle shaped you, refined you, and brought you closer to the person you are today. Now, as you stand in the light of your reward, you can look back with gratitude for the journey you have walked. You are stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle the blessings that are being released into your life. You've earned this moment, and God is honoring the process it took to get you here. When God rewards you, it is always beyond what you could ask for or imagine. His blessings are not just enough to meet your needs, but they overflow into abundance. The reward you are receiving tonight is not just about what you prayed for, it's about what God has in store for you that you haven't even asked for yet. God's generosity is limitless, and as you receive what is due to you, He is already preparing the next wave of blessings to come. His love for you is vast, and the reward you're receiving tonight is a small reflection of His infinite goodness. Even now, as you're beginning to see the fruits of your labor, remember that this reward is not a reason to stop moving forward. God doesn't bless you so that you can become complacent. He blesses you so that you can keep going. Your journey isn't over. This reward is simply a milestone, a reminder of how far you've come, and a sign of how much farther you can go. The blessing is not the destination, but a part of the process. You are being positioned for even greater things, and God will continue to reward your faithfulness as you keep walking in His direction. Take a moment tonight to pause and reflect on all that God has done for you. Take a moment to celebrate how far you've come, but don't stay in that place of reflection for too long, because the future is waiting for you. The next phase of your journey is just ahead. What God is doing in your life tonight is not just about you. It's about the legacy you will leave behind, the lives you will touch, and the impact you will make. As you step into this new season, remember that you are not walking alone. God's favor is upon you, and He will continue to guide you every step of the way. Your reward is a testimony to the goodness of God and the power of faith. It shows that when you trust in Him, when you walk in His ways, when you believe in His promises, He will never fail you. He has seen your heart, He has seen your struggle, and He is rewarding you for your faithfulness. This reward is not just about the material things that are coming into your life, but about the spiritual growth and the deeper connection with God that you are now experiencing. The reward is a reflection of your obedience, your trust, and your unwavering belief that God is always working on your behalf. As you receive this reward tonight, know that it is a reflection of God's love for you. You are His beloved, and He takes great pleasure in blessing you. He sees your heart, He sees your efforts, and He is rewarding you in ways that will not only change your life, but will change the world around you. Tonight marks a new beginning. The reward you receive will open doors that no man can close. It will break chains that have held you back, and it will empower you to walk in the fullness of your divine destiny. The challenges you have faced have prepared you to stand in this moment of victory. The road may have been long, but it was worth it. Every sacrifice you made, every prayer you prayed, every tear you shed, it was all a part of the divine process that has led you here. Tonight, you are not just receiving a reward, you are stepping into your destiny. You are stepping into the life that God has always planned for you, and as you receive this blessing, know that it is only the beginning of what is to come. This moment is not just for you, it's for your family, your friends, and those who have been watching you with awe. They will see the favor of God upon your life, and they will know that if God can do this for you, He can do it for them. You are a living testimony of God's power to transform lives. Your story will inspire others to trust in God, to believe in His promises, and to walk by faith. You are about to become a beacon of hope, a light to those around you, showing them that with God, all things are possible. As you receive this reward tonight, know that it is a sign of God's love for you and a testament to the faithfulness you've shown in the midst of adversity. He has seen your heart, and now He is rewarding you in ways that will surpass all your expectations. This moment is not the end of your journey, it's a new beginning. The best is yet to come, and tonight you are stepping into a new season of blessings, favor, and divine fulfillment. The reward you've been waiting for is here, and it's only the beginning of what God has planned for you. Tonight, as the blessings unfold in your life, realize that they are not just for the moment. They are part of a bigger divine plan that has been unfolding over time. This is not an accident or a mere coincidence. This is a direct result of God's hand upon your life. The reward you are receiving tonight is proof that every prayer you've prayed, every challenge you've overcome, every step you've taken in faith has not gone unnoticed. Heaven has been watching you, and now the reward is flowing to you in abundance. You have endured much, and in your endurance you have found strength. You have faced hardships that seemed insurmountable, but you overcame them. Each obstacle, each trial, each moment of uncertainty has been a step toward the reward that is now entering your life. These were the moments that tested your faith, but they also refined you, shaping you into the person you are today. The person who is ready for this moment, the person who is ready to receive the fullness of what God has prepared for you. Your journey has not been easy, and it hasn't always been clear. At times you may have wondered if you were on the right path or if your efforts were in vain. But the truth is, those doubts were only temporary. You never gave up, you never lost faith, and God saw every moment you pressed on despite the challenges. Now you are reaping the rewards of your persistence, your faith, and your unshakable belief that God is always working in your favor. This is a moment of divine alignment. Every piece of your life, every decision, every prayer, and every sacrifice has brought you to this moment of fulfillment. The things you've been waiting for, the things you've been praying for, are now being released into your life. But this reward is not just for your benefit, it's for the people around you as well. Your reward is a sign to the world that God is faithful, that He rewards those who diligently seek Him, and that He is always on time. You are a living testament to the fact that God's promises are true, and your story will inspire others to trust in Him more deeply. There is a power in receiving what is rightfully yours. It doesn't just bless your life, it creates a ripple effect that touches those around you. You are a vessel of God's goodness, and as you are rewarded, others will be able to witness the power of God's work in your life. Your success, your breakthroughs, and your rewards are not just for you to enjoy alone. They are a beacon of hope for others who may be struggling or questioning if God will come through for them. When they see you, they will know that it is possible, that it is real, and that God's love is for them too. What you are experiencing tonight is a manifestation of the work that has been happening in the unseen realms. Every prayer you've prayed, every word of affirmation you've spoken, every act of faith you've taken has been building up to this moment. You may not have always seen the results immediately, but God was working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail of your life. Now, the manifestations are here, and they are greater than anything you could have imagined. This moment is a culmination of everything that has come before it, but it is also a starting point for what is to come. The reward you are receiving tonight is a seed, and just like any seed, it will grow and multiply. What God is doing in your life tonight is not just a one-time blessing. It is the beginning of a new season, a season of abundance, growth, and expansion. You've entered a new level of favor, and as you continue to walk in His will, the blessings will continue to flow. God's blessings are like a river. They don't stop, they just keep flowing. The more you allow God to work in and through your life, the more you will see His favor poured out in ways you never thought possible. As you stand in this moment, receiving the reward that is rightfully yours, take time to reflect on the journey that brought you here. Think about the obstacles, the challenges, and the setbacks that you faced. Think about how difficult it seemed at times to keep going, how you sometimes questioned whether it was worth it. But now, as you look at what is unfolding in your life, you can see that it was worth it. Every struggle, every hardship, every moment of doubt was all part of God's perfect plan to bring you to this place of victory. And what you are receiving tonight is just a small glimpse of the greater things that are still to come. This reward is a reflection of your inner transformation. God doesn't just reward outward actions, He rewards the changes that have taken place in your heart. The patience you've learned, the humility you've embraced, the wisdom you gained, these are the things that God rewards. You didn't just get to this point by chance. It was the work that God has done in you, the growth He has brought about in your spirit that has prepared you for this moment. Now, as the reward is manifested in your life, it is a reflection of your inner strength, your trust in God, and your willingness to surrender to His will. The reward you are receiving tonight is also a reminder that you are chosen. You have been set apart for a divine purpose, and this moment is evidence of that. You were never meant to follow the crowd or live a life of mediocrity. You were meant to stand out, to shine, and to be a light in this world. God has been preparing you for something great, and tonight is a sign that your time has come. You have passed the tests, you have stayed true to your faith, and now the reward is here. This is not just for your benefit, but for the advancement of God's kingdom. Your success will bring glory to Him, and your life will be a living testimony of His goodness. As you step into this new season, remember that this reward is not an end, but a continuation of the journey. The blessings you are receiving tonight are just the beginning of a greater outpouring. God's favor is upon you, and He is not finished with you yet. There is more to come. Greater blessings, greater opportunities, greater breakthroughs. This is your moment, but it is not your final moment. There is much more to be done and much more to be received. Keep your eyes on God, keep your heart open to His leading, and keep walking in faith. You are just getting started. The reward that is unfolding in your life tonight is not just about the material blessings, but about the deeper spiritual growth that is taking place. You are being transformed, and that transformation will continue throughout your life. As you receive this reward, know that it is not the end of your journey, but the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter filled with greater blessings, greater favor, and greater opportunities to impact the world around you. You've earned this moment, and God is honoring your faithfulness. But remember, this reward is just a glimpse of what is to come. You are being prepared for greater things, and this is just the beginning. As you continue to trust in God, He will continue to bless you. The reward you are receiving tonight is only a taste of what's ahead. Keep moving forward, keep trusting, and keep believing that God is always working on your behalf. His favor is upon you, and His blessings will never cease. Tonight, as the reward is poured out into your life, take a moment to thank God for His faithfulness. Acknowledge the work He has done in your life and praise Him for what is to come. You are walking in a new season of blessings, and God will continue to lead you into greater things. As you receive your reward, know that this is only the beginning of the incredible things God has planned for you. Your journey is far from over, and the best is yet to come. As you stand in the fullness of God's reward tonight, remember that this moment is not just for you, but for His glory and for the people who will be touched by your testimony. The struggles you've faced, the patience you've exercised, and the faith you've held on to were never in vain. This is the harvest of your perseverance, and the seeds you planted with every prayer, every act of obedience, are now bearing fruit. But do not think that this reward is the end of your journey. It is just the beginning. God has more in store for you than you can ever imagine. This is a pivotal moment, a milestone, but the road ahead is filled with even greater blessings and breakthroughs. Continue to walk in faith, keep your heart aligned with His will, and expect even greater manifestations in your life. Trust that God's timing is perfect, and this reward is exactly what you need for this season. As you move forward, carry with you the knowledge that you are chosen, you are loved, and you are destined for greatness. Your story is just unfolding, and as you walk in His grace, the best is yet to come. Keep your eyes on Him, trust in His plan, and know that tonight is just a glimpse of the abundant life He has promised you. There's a force at work in your life right now that's deeper than you realize. You may not see it, but in every challenge, every delay, every moment of uncertainty, God is silently orchestrating things on your behalf. Imagine a presence so powerful that it goes ahead of you, clearing paths, opening doors, and setting up divine opportunities long before you even encounter them. You may be facing struggles, feeling like nothing is moving, like you're lost in a cycle of waiting. But God doesn't leave His plans halfway. What if, right now, He's arranging events that will lead to breakthroughs, preparing you in ways that can only be fully understood with time? Lean in and stay with me, because what we're about to explore might change how you perceive your journey entirely. Have you ever thought about what it means when God promises to go before you? It's not just a poetic phrase, it's a reality that speaks to God's unfathomable love and intentionality towards His children. To understand this, you need to grasp that God doesn't operate within our limitations of time and space. Where we see only the present, God sees the entire path past, present, and future woven together in His perfect plan. You may feel the weight of current trials, but every single one of those moments, even those that feel burdensome, has purpose in His grand design. Think of Joseph, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, accused falsely, and forgotten in prison. To the human eye, his circumstances were tragic and unfair. But God was preparing him, molding him, and positioning him for something extraordinary. Every pitfall Joseph encountered was not a setback, but a setup. God was working behind the scenes, aligning events that would eventually bring him to the palace. In the same way, what you see as a delay or hardship may be God's way of directing you to a future that's beyond what you could have orchestrated on your own. God's timing, though mysterious to us, is always perfect. His plans are neither early nor late. As it is written, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These aren't just comforting words, they're divine promises. When God assures you of His plans, He's telling you that every twist and turn you experience has been accounted for. Nothing surprises Him, and nothing catches Him off guard. Imagine God as a master artist painting the portrait of your life. Every brushstroke, each shade of color, is intentional. Some strokes are light and joyful, while others are darker, representing the trials. But altogether, they create a masterpiece. The challenge is that we often only see small sections of this painting at a time, perhaps only those dark strokes that represent hard times. And when we're stuck in those darker areas, it's tempting to question the process, to feel abandoned or even forgotten. But what we must remember is that God is the artist, and He sees the full picture. He knows what He's creating in you and through you. We have to understand that faith is not the absence of struggle, it is the confidence that God is present in the struggle. He walks through it with you. In the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, He did not leave them alone. He stepped into the flames. The same goes for your situation. Even when you don't feel His presence, He's right there, working on your behalf. Have you ever noticed that God often does His most profound work in silence? When you're waiting and wondering, He's preparing and positioning. This is a season of divine setup. In the book of Isaiah, God declares, "I am the Lord, in its time I will do this swiftly." Sometimes it takes a long stretch of silence and patience before we see Him move, and then suddenly everything changes in an instant. Your job as you wait is not to understand everything, but to trust that He's setting up something beautiful, even when you can't see it. God's ways are higher than ours. We can be quick to label situations as failures or setbacks, when in reality they are detours orchestrated by God to take us to His appointed destination. Often He allows us to experience disappointment to prepare us for divine appointments. Look at Moses, who spent years tending sheep in the wilderness, a far cry from his Egyptian royalty. But God was preparing him in those quiet years, preparing him to be the leader who would stand before Pharaoh and declare freedom for God's people. God uses what looks like delay to develop your spirit, to mold you into the person who can carry the weight of the calling He has for you. Every moment of waiting, every unanswered prayer, every door that is yet to open is a reminder that God's timeline is not our timeline. He sees things from an eternal perspective. He's not in a hurry. He's preparing the perfect moment to reveal what He's been doing behind the scenes. The waiting period is not wasted, it's a time of refinement. Just like a potter shapes clay, God uses time to mold your character, to deepen your faith, and to strengthen your spirit so that when you step into His promise, you are fully prepared. The enemy might try to convince you that nothing is happening, that God has forgotten you. But remember, Satan is the author of lies. His goal is to plant seeds of doubt, fear, and frustration. But God's word says that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. This means that God doesn't abandon His projects. He doesn't leave His children halfway. What He started in your life, He will finish. I think about how a farmer plants seeds. After the seeds go into the ground, there's a season of waiting before any signs of life appear. But even though it looks like nothing is happening, beneath the surface the seed is growing, taking root, developing strength. In the same way, God is planting seeds in your life, seeds of purpose, of calling, of destiny. The growth may be unseen, but it is happening. When the time is right, God will bring it to the surface, and you will see the fruit of His faithfulness. In those moments when you're tempted to give up, remember that God has invested too much in you to let you fail. He's invested His promises, His word, and even His Son. You are worth too much to Him to be abandoned in the middle of the process. His hands are on you, and He's shaping you with precision. He knows the number of hairs on your head, the desires of your heart, and the plans He has prepared for you. And those plans are good. Sometimes it's the small victories, the whispers of encouragement, the subtle shifts in perspective that remind you that God is working. You may not receive a grand sign, but He often works in the ordinary, in ways that seem mundane but are profoundly sacred. His miracles are not always dramatic, they are sometimes woven into the fabric of your daily life, waiting for you to recognize them. This journey of faith is not about controlling outcomes, it's about surrendering to the one who holds every outcome in His hands. When you release control, you make space for God's power to move. Trust that in His infinite wisdom He is guiding you even when the way seems unclear. He sees the dangers ahead, the hidden snares, and He shields you from them. What might look like rejection or disappointment could be God's hand protecting you from something you cannot yet understand. And so even in the no's and the closed doors, God is working, shielding you from harm, setting you up for something greater. There are moments in life when God's hand feels invisible, when His voice seems silent, and when His presence feels distant. Yet these are the very times He's closer than ever, preparing us, protecting us, and positioning us. In His wisdom, He knows that growth often comes not in the spotlight but in the shadows, where no one can see the work He's doing. Consider Jesus' own life. He spent years in relative obscurity before stepping into public ministry. He was growing, maturing, and being prepared for a mission so great that it would change the course of humanity. God often hides us in these quiet seasons because He's preparing us for something far beyond what we can currently see. Faith is about trusting in what we cannot see, believing in promises that are yet to come, and knowing that God is working, even when we can't feel it. This is why the scripture says we walk by faith, not by sight. If we only relied on what we see, we'd be discouraged, because not every step of the journey makes sense from our perspective. But faith calls us to go deeper, to look beyond our immediate circumstances, and to trust that God is operating on a different level. He is orchestrating events in a way that is beyond our comprehension. Every disappointment, every closed door, every delay is part of His grand design, moving us towards something far greater than we could have ever planned for ourselves. Our human nature often pushes us toward impatience. We want immediate answers, quick solutions, and instant relief from pain. But God's process is different. He is not interested in rushing us to the finish line. He is interested in refining us along the way. Each moment of waiting, every test of patience, every situation that stretches us is God's way of shaping our character and building our resilience. Just as gold is refined in the fire to remove impurities, God uses the pressures and challenges of life to purify our hearts, strip away what doesn't serve us, and strengthen us for the journey ahead. What may feel like a trial is actually an opportunity for growth, a chance to deepen our reliance on Him and our understanding of His grace. God's work in our lives often defies logic. Think about the way He used a shepherd boy, David, to defeat a giant, or how He chose a stammering Moses to lead His people out of Egypt. By human standards, these choices didn't make sense. But God doesn't look at outward qualifications, He looks at the heart. He sees potential where others see limitation. In the same way, God has placed gifts, talents, and a unique purpose inside each one of us. But these gifts need to be cultivated, and this often happens in the hidden places, far from the eyes of the world. It's in the quiet, often unnoticed moments that God is molding us, shaping our abilities, and strengthening our faith. When we understand this, we can begin to see every season, no matter how challenging, as part of His divine process. Many of us pray for a blessing, a breakthrough, a change in our circumstances. But what if God's answer is not to change our circumstances, but to change us? What if the real blessing is not the end result, but the transformation that happens along the way? God is less interested in our comfort than He is in our character. He wants to build in us qualities that will last: faith, endurance, humility, and love. These are the attributes that will carry us through life's storms and make us vessels of His glory. When we shift our perspective from what can I get to who can I become, we begin to see our trials not as burdens, but as blessings in disguise. God's work in our lives is often subtle. He doesn't always announce His moves with thunder and lightning. Instead, He works in the details, in the small moments, in the daily interactions, and in the hidden thoughts of our hearts. We may not always recognize His hand at work, but He is there, carefully weaving together every piece of our lives. He is present in the seemingly mundane tasks, in the routines, and in the quiet moments when we are alone with our thoughts. This is why it's so important to cultivate a heart of gratitude and attentiveness. When we slow down and pay attention, we begin to see God's fingerprints everywhere. We see His guidance in the people He brings into our lives, in the doors that open and the ones that close, and in the lessons we learn along the way. One of the greatest acts of faith we can show is to remain steadfast, to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. God honors persistence. He sees when we continue to trust Him, even when things don't go as we planned. He is moved by our determination to stay faithful, by our willingness to press on despite the odds. Every step we take in faith, no matter how small, is a testament to our trust in His promises. And as we keep moving forward, we begin to realize that the journey itself is part of His blessing. God uses every step, every stumble, every moment of doubt to teach us something valuable. God's love for us is not passive, it is active, intentional, and relentless. He pursues us even when we're unaware. He fights battles on our behalf, often in ways we cannot see or understand. Think of how He protected the Israelites, guiding them by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. He was their shield and protector, even when they grumbled and doubted His plan. God's commitment to us is the same today. He goes before us, behind us, and around us. His presence is our security, and His promises are our assurance that we are never alone, no matter how isolated we may feel. It's easy to lose hope when we don't see immediate results. But God calls us to walk by faith, not by sight. Faith is about trusting that He is working behind the scenes, even when we don't have all the answers. His ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. He sees the full picture, while we only see a fraction. This is why patience is so essential to our journey with God. Patience allows us to wait on His timing, knowing that He is orchestrating something far greater than we could have ever imagined. Patience teaches us to rely on Him, to lean not on our own understanding but to trust in His wisdom. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when the wait seems too long and the burden too heavy. But it is in these moments that God is closest, providing strength and comfort in ways we may not always recognize. Sometimes God's work in our lives is not about changing our circumstances, but about changing our perspective. When we learn to see our situation through His eyes, we realize that every struggle is an opportunity for growth, every setback a setup for something greater. God is not just interested in getting us to the destination, He is interested in shaping who we become along the way. Throughout the Bible, we see countless examples of God working behind the scenes, even when His people were unaware. Esther, for example, found herself in a position of influence, not by chance, but by divine appointment. She was chosen to be queen at a time when her people needed someone to stand in the gap. God placed her there, positioned her, and gave her favor for a purpose. In the same way, God has positioned you exactly where you need to be. You may not understand why you're in a particular job, relationship, or situation, but God has a purpose for every season. He has a reason for every placement, and He is working through it, even when we don't see it. God's silence is never a sign of His absence. Sometimes He is quiet because He is preparing something so significant that it requires our full attention and trust. When God seems silent, it is often because He is asking us to lean not on our own understanding, but to deepen our faith. Faith is not built in the comfortable, predictable moments. It is built in the uncertainties, in the seasons of waiting, and in the times when we don't have all the answers. These are the moments when we learn to trust God in ways that go beyond surface level faith. The truth is, God's timing is impeccable. He is never early, and He is never late. When He moves, He does so with precision. He knows the exact moment when things need to happen, and He orchestrates events in a way that aligns perfectly with His plan. We may not understand why certain things take so long or why certain doors remain closed, but God sees what we cannot. He knows what is best for us, and He withholds no good thing from those who walk uprightly. His delays are not denials, they are divine appointments, moments designed to teach us patience, perseverance, and trust. In every season of life, God's hand is at work, even when we can't see it. He is shaping us, guiding us, and preparing us for something far beyond what we can imagine. When we trust in His timing, we begin to see that everything we go through has a purpose. The challenges, the waiting, the setbacks, they are all part of His greater plan. God is not just working on our behalf, He is also working within us, transforming our hearts and minds to align with His will. If we truly believe that God is for us, that He is actively involved in our lives, then we can face every situation with confidence. We can walk through the valleys, climb the mountains, and endure the storms, knowing that we are not alone. God is with us, fighting for us, and preparing the way. He is our rock, our refuge, and our ever-present help in times of trouble. When we place our trust in Him, we find peace, not because our circumstances are perfect, but because we know that He is perfect. His love, His grace, and His strength are more than enough to carry us through. God is the ultimate architect of our lives, and He designs each moment with a purpose that is greater than we can imagine. Each day is an opportunity for us to see His work unfold, even if the process seems slow or hidden. When we understand that, we start to view life not just through the lens of immediate satisfaction, but with a long-term perspective that aligns with God's eternal plans. This shift in thinking allows us to embrace waiting with a different attitude. recognizing that each day is a step closer to the fulfillment of His promises. It's important to realize that God's purpose for our lives isn't tied solely to what we can see with our natural eyes. He is not confined to our limitations or our understanding of time. While we may look at the clock and measure everything by deadlines and timetables, God operates on an eternal clock. What may seem delayed to us is often the exact moment God is preparing us for something greater. His perfect timing is not always understood, but it is always right. As we trust in His timing, we learn to surrender our plans to His will, understanding that He is working everything together for our good. When you find yourself in moments of doubt, when the path ahead seems unclear, or when you're tempted to give up, remember that God is with you, actively working on your behalf. He does not abandon His children, and He is committed to fulfilling His promises. You might not always see the results immediately, but rest assured that He is preparing you for something powerful. Whether He's building your strength, shaping your character, or positioning you for the right opportunities, every trial, every moment of waiting, and every setback is a part of His divine strategy. The Bible reminds us in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. This verse does not say that all things are good, but that all things work together for good. Even the painful moments, the moments of loss, the seasons of confusion, are being worked into the fabric of God's plan for your life. Every event, whether joyful or sorrowful, is being used by God to shape you into the person He has called you to be. So in those moments when life doesn't make sense, when the challenges seem too much to bear, remember that God is working behind the scenes. You may not see it now, but there is a greater purpose unfolding. God's faithfulness is unwavering, and He is a keeper of His promises. When we stand on His word, we are standing on a foundation that will never fail. His word is true, and His promises are sure. He has promised to never leave us nor forsake us, and He has promised to bring us through every trial. His faithfulness is not dependent on our circumstances, it is grounded in His unchanging nature. He is always working on our behalf, even when we don't feel Him, even when we don't see the evidence. His faithfulness is present, just as real in the unseen as it is in the seen. One of the greatest things we can do as believers is to learn to rest in God's promises. The world constantly urges us to hustle, to work harder, to strive for success, but God calls us to a different kind of rest that comes from knowing He is in control. This doesn't mean that we are passive, but it means that we work with the understanding that He is the one orchestrating our success. When we trust in God's sovereignty, we can release our anxieties, knowing that He is working everything out for us. We rest in the knowledge that our efforts are not in vain, but are empowered by His strength and guided by His wisdom. It's easy to forget this truth in the midst of challenges. Life has a way of overwhelming us, and it's natural to feel like we have to do everything ourselves. However, the Bible invites us to cast our cares upon God, for He cares for us. This invitation to trust Him with our burdens is not just a suggestion, it's an invitation to experience His peace, His provision, and His power. The more we learn to trust God in the midst of our struggles, the more we experience the reality that He is indeed working on our behalf. His work is always advancing, even when we cannot see it. His power is always at work, even in the quiet moments. Sometimes the things we are waiting for seem to take forever to materialize. Whether it's a breakthrough in our career, a healing in our body, or a restoration in our relationships, the waiting process can feel like a test of our patience. But in those moments of waiting, God is not idle. He is preparing the way ahead, aligning the right circumstances, and working in the hearts of others to bring about the perfect outcome. The delays are not denials. They are simply part of the process of God's perfect will being accomplished in our lives. When you find yourself frustrated by the pace of life, remember that God's pace is always perfect. He never rushes, and He never delays unnecessarily. Everything happens in His perfect time. If we can embrace the waiting, knowing that God is working in ways we cannot see, we begin to experience a peace that surpasses understanding. We no longer view the waiting periods as wasted time, but as vital seasons of preparation. These are the times when God is strengthening us, refining us, and equipping us for what's to come. You may be asking, why does God allow difficult seasons to last so long? Why doesn't He just give us what we need right away? The truth is, God allows us to go through seasons of waiting because He is preparing us for the future. The strength we need to endure the challenges ahead is developed in the waiting seasons. The faith we need to believe in God's promises is strengthened when we are required to wait. God doesn't allow us to go through hardships without purpose. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow in character, resilience, and trust. As we walk through life, we must learn to shift our focus from the problems we face to the God who is working on our behalf. We are often consumed by what we see and feel in the present, but God calls us to see beyond our immediate circumstances. He calls us to fix our eyes on Him, the one who is both the author and the finisher of our faith. He is writing our story, and though we may not always understand the plot twists, we can trust that He is working everything out according to His plan. In the moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, remember that God has not forgotten you. He is working behind the scenes, preparing you for the blessings that are on the way. You may not see the breakthrough right now, but it is coming. The blessings you've been waiting for are being set in motion, and in due time you will see the fruit of your faithfulness and perseverance. Trust in the process. Trust in the timing of God. He is always working, always moving, always orchestrating everything on your behalf. Sometimes we can become discouraged because the breakthrough we're hoping for hasn't come yet. We may be tempted to believe that God has forgotten us or that we're not worthy of His promises. But let me remind you today that God has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked you. His timing is perfect and His promises are true. Your breakthrough is on the way, and in the meantime He is preparing you for it. Trust that the waiting is not in vain. God is working, and you are moving closer to the fulfillment of His promises with each passing day. God's work in our lives is also about deepening our intimacy with Him. As we go through life, we learn to rely on Him more and more. The times when we feel most distant are often the times when He is drawing us closer. The challenges and the waiting are not meant to push us away from God, but to draw us near. As we face life's struggles, we are invited into a deeper relationship with our Creator. We are invited to trust Him more, to lean on Him more, and to depend on His strength more than ever before. When we fully understand that God is always working on our behalf, we can rest in the knowledge that we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can surrender our worries, our fears, and our anxieties to Him, knowing that He is in control. We can trust that He is working behind the scenes to bring about the best possible outcome for our lives. Our responsibility is not to worry about the outcome, but to remain faithful and obedient to Him. As we do that, we can rest assured that He is at work, even when we don't see it. So no matter where you find yourself today, whether in a season of waiting, facing obstacles, or wondering what God is doing behind the scenes, remember this: He is working on your behalf. Trust that He is orchestrating every detail of your life, even when it feels like nothing is happening. His promises are true, His faithfulness is sure, and His love for you is unwavering. Your breakthrough is on the way, and God is already preparing you for it. Keep trusting, keep believing, and know that He is always working, even when you can't see it. God's love for you is immeasurable, and it's in His love that He works tirelessly on your behalf. It is the foundation of everything He does in our lives. This is a love that is not based on merit, not something we have earned or deserve, but a love that flows from His very nature. It's a love that never fails, never grows weary, and never fades away. When God works in our lives, it is from a place of love, a love that transforms, restores, and strengthens. This is the love that sustains us through trials and guides us to victory. We often try to measure God's work in terms of visible results, but His greatest work often happens in the unseen. While we're busy looking for signs and signals, God is working deep within us, molding and shaping us. He is building character, faith, and perseverance in the secret places of our hearts. This is why it is so important to remember that God's work is not always immediately visible. In fact, some of His greatest miracles happen when we're unaware of them. He is working on our behalf in ways that transcend our understanding. Sometimes the only thing we see in front of us is a wall. We can't see past it, and we don't know how we're going to get through it. The enemy will try to convince us that there is no way forward, that the wall is too high to climb and the door is too tightly shut to open. But the truth is that God specializes in making a way where there seems to be no way. Just as He parted the Red Sea for the Israelites, He can part the walls in our lives. He can remove the obstacles that stand in our way and guide us into His perfect plan. The work that He is doing on our behalf is bigger than any problem we face. His power is limitless, and there is no obstacle that can prevent His will from being accomplished. In those moments when you feel stuck, remember that God is at work. When you can't see a way forward, trust that He is already making a way for you. He is moving mountains, opening doors, and shifting circumstances. He is aligning people, positioning opportunities, and working everything together for your good. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, God is always at work behind the scenes. His plan is unfolding in ways that we cannot always comprehend. But if we trust in His timing and His process, we will see the outcome of His faithful work. Sometimes God's work in our lives involves a process of refining. Just as gold is purified by fire, so too are we refined through trials and tribulations. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter 1:7 that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. This is not a process that is easy or comfortable, but it is necessary for our growth and maturity. The challenges we face are the tools that God uses to purify our faith, remove impurities, and make us stronger. In the midst of our trials, it is easy to become discouraged, but we must remember that God is refining us, making us more like Him, and preparing us for what's ahead. This is part of His divine work on our behalf. He allows us to go through these difficult seasons not to break us, but to build us. We are being transformed into vessels of honor, capable of handling the blessings He is preparing for us. The pain and pressure we experience are temporary, but the results are eternal. God is using these times to make us more like His Son, to increase our capacity to carry His glory, and to prepare us for greater things. When we face hardships, we may feel like God is distant or that He has forgotten us, but nothing could be further from the truth. God is right there with us, working in ways we cannot see. He is working on our behalf even when we feel alone or abandoned. In those moments, we must lean into His presence and trust that He is doing something beautiful in the midst of our struggles. Even in the valley, God is at work. Even in the wilderness, He is shaping and molding us into the person we are meant to become. His work is not limited by our circumstances. He is the God of the mountain and the valley. He is faithful in both the highs and the lows. It's easy to focus on the obstacles in front of us, but God calls us to shift our focus to Him. He is the one who makes the impossible possible. He is the one who can turn situations around. When we focus on Him, we begin to see things through His perspective. We stop looking at the problems and start looking at the possibilities. We stop trying to figure things out on our own and start trusting that He is already working everything out for our good. Our job is not to worry about how the solution will come, but to trust in His power and His timing. When we do this, we can have peace in the midst of the storm, knowing that He is working on our behalf. There may be times when we feel like giving up, when the road ahead seems too difficult to continue. But I want to encourage you today to keep going. Keep pressing forward, even when the journey seems long and hard. Your breakthrough is coming. God is working behind the scenes, and He is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Trust in His process. Trust that He is shaping you, equipping you, and strengthening you for what lies ahead. It's important to remember that God's work in our lives is not only about what we receive, but also about what we give. As God works in us, He also works through us. He uses our lives as a testimony of His grace and power. We are called to be vessels of His love, to share His hope with others, and to be a light in a dark world. God is not only working on our behalf for our own benefit, but also to use us to fulfill His greater purpose in the earth. As we allow Him to work in us, He empowers us to be a blessing to those around us. There are times when we may feel like our efforts are in vain, when we wonder if we're making any impact. But remember that God sees everything. He sees the seed you've planted, the prayers you've prayed, and the sacrifices you've made. He sees the hidden acts of kindness, the moments when you've chosen to do the right thing even when it was hard. He is working through those actions, and He will bring the increase. Just because you don't see the results immediately doesn't mean that God is not at work. Trust that He is using your efforts for His glory, and that He will bring about the fruit in due season. God's work in our lives is also about our transformation. He is always shaping us, refining us, and drawing us closer to His heart. The more we allow God to work in us, the more we become like Him. This transformation is not instantaneous, but a process that takes time. We don't wake up one day as fully matured believers, but each day is an opportunity to become more like Christ. As we yield to His work, He changes our hearts, renews our minds, and strengthens our spirits. This transformation is one of the most powerful ways God is working on our behalf. The more we reflect His character, the more we align with His purpose, and the more we experience His blessings. As you continue on your journey, remember that God is constantly at work in your life. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail, and preparing you for the blessings that lie ahead. Don't be discouraged by the difficulties you face. Don't be discouraged by the things you can't see. Trust that God is working on your behalf. He is faithful, He is powerful, and He is always working things together for your good. His work is perfect, and His timing is impeccable. Keep trusting, keep believing, and know that He is always working in your favor. Your breakthrough is coming. The best is yet to come. Keep pressing forward, for God is working on your behalf. The journey of faith is not always easy, and it is filled with challenges, obstacles, and moments when it seems like the road ahead is uncertain. Yet in every circumstance, we must remind ourselves that God is still working on our behalf. His hand is not absent in our difficulties, rather, His presence is more evident in those moments of struggle than we may realize. Often, the challenges we face serve as opportunities for growth and transformation. When we walk through the fire, He is refining us. And when we find ourselves in the wilderness, He is guiding us toward the promised land. It is in these moments that God's work in our lives becomes most apparent. He is not only protecting us from harm, but actively shaping us into the people He has called us to be. Faith, after all, is not just about what we see, it's about what we trust God to do in the unseen. In the spiritual realm, there is much happening that we cannot see, but that doesn't make it any less real. God is at work in our lives every single day, orchestrating events, aligning people, and preparing the way for us to walk into the fullness of His will. Our job is to trust in His process and rely on His timing. Though we may not always understand why certain things are happening, we can be confident that God is working behind the scenes, moving things around for our benefit. In times of trial, it's easy to forget that God is at work. Our vision can become clouded by the storm, and we may find ourselves doubting His presence and His goodness. Yet God's word reminds us time and again that He is with us in the fire, in the flood, and in every moment of our lives. He never leaves us or forsakes us. Even when we feel isolated or abandoned, He is right there walking with us. His work is not always visible, but it is always present. It is often in the quiet moments of our lives, in the moments of stillness, that God does some of His greatest work. We must remember that God's timetable is not our own. His ways are higher than ours, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Just because we can't see what He's doing doesn't mean that He's not doing anything. The waiting periods in our lives are not wasted. They are times of preparation, refinement, and growth. God is working in the waiting, shaping us into the people we need to be in order to walk in the fullness of His promises. Patience and trust in His timing are essential in this process. There may be times when we feel like we are being held back, as though God is delaying our breakthrough or holding us back from the blessings we so desperately desire. In those moments, we must remember that God is never late. He is never behind schedule. His timing is perfect. What we perceive as a delay is often God's way of preparing us for something greater. Just as a seed must be buried in the ground before it can grow into a tree, there are times when we must go through a period of growth and development before we can fully step into the destiny God has for us. This is not a process of punishment, but a process of preparation. God is refining us, stretching our faith, and building our character so that we can handle the blessings He has for us. If we were to receive everything we wanted right now, we might not be ready to handle it. We might not have the maturity or the spiritual strength to manage the responsibilities that come with the blessings God has for us. So in His love, He prepares us, molding us into the people He wants us to become. God is not a distant observer in our lives. He is actively involved in every detail, working behind the scenes to ensure that His perfect will is done in our lives. He is orchestrating events, making connections, and aligning circumstances in ways that we cannot see. Even when we feel like we are in a holding pattern, God is at work. Even in the moments when we feel like nothing is happening, God is preparing the way for us. He is preparing us for the doors He will open, for the opportunities He will bring, and for the breakthroughs He will deliver. Our role in this process is simple trust. Trust that God knows what He is doing, even when we don't understand. Trust that He is working on our behalf, even when we can't see the results. Trust that His plan for our lives is far greater than anything we could imagine. As we trust Him, we begin to see His hand at work in ways we couldn't have anticipated. His work in our lives often comes in unexpected ways, and His provision is often greater than anything we could have asked for. The power of God's work in our lives is not only in the big moments, the breakthroughs, the miracles, and the dramatic events. His work is also found in the small, everyday moments. It's found in the quiet moments of prayer, in the moments of serving others, and in the small acts of obedience. God is at work in every part of our lives, not just in the big visible moments. He is working in the mundane and in the ordinary, preparing us for the extraordinary. As we grow in our relationship with God, we begin to recognize His hand at work in every area of our lives. We begin to see His fingerprints on the details, and we start to realize that nothing happens by chance. Everything in our lives is part of God's divine plan. He is orchestrating every moment, every encounter, and every circumstance for His glory and for our good. One of the most incredible aspects of God's work in our lives is that He uses even our mistakes and failures for His purposes. When we stumble, when we fall, and when we make mistakes, God is still working on our behalf. He is a God of redemption, and He can take even the most broken parts of our lives and use them for His glory. The very things we thought disqualified us from God's plan can become the platforms for His power. God is able to take our pain, our mistakes, and our failures and turn them into something beautiful. He is working even in the darkest moments of our lives, bringing light into the darkness and turning mourning into joy. God's work is not just for our benefit, but for His glory. As He works on our behalf, He is also working through us to impact the world around us. We are called to be vessels of His love, grace, and truth. As God works in us, He empowers us to make a difference in the lives of others. The blessings He pours into our lives are not meant to be hoarded, but to be shared. He works on our behalf so that we can be a blessing to those around us, so that we can be a light in a dark world. We may not always understand the reasons behind the circumstances we face, but we can trust that God is always at work. He is always moving, always orchestrating, always preparing. His work in our lives is not random or haphazard, it is purposeful and intentional. He has a plan for our lives, and every part of our journey is leading us closer to His will. The beauty of God's work in our lives is that it never ends. He is continually shaping us, refining us, and preparing us for greater things. Even in the moments when we feel like we have reached the end of one chapter, God is already working on the next chapter. He is constantly moving us from glory to glory, from strength to strength, and from faith to faith. There is always more that God wants to do in us and through us. His work in our lives is an ongoing process, and as we yield to Him, we continue to grow, learn, and experience His goodness in new and unexpected ways. As you continue on your journey, remember that God is always at work on your behalf. Even in the quiet moments, even in the struggles, and even in the waiting, God is moving behind the scenes. Trust in His plan, trust in His timing, and know that He is working all things together for your good. The best is yet to come, and the work He is doing in your life is far greater than you can imagine. Keep your eyes fixed on Him, and keep trusting that He is working on your behalf. As we continue to trust in God's plan for our lives, we must remember that His ways are always better than our own. We may not see the full picture, and we may not understand the intricate details of His work, but we can be assured that His purpose is perfect. The beautiful thing about God's work is that it's never done in isolation. He involves us in the process. He doesn't just move in the background and leave us to wonder about His actions. Instead, He invites us to walk with Him, to trust Him, and to believe that He is leading us towards something greater. The work that He is doing in us is not just for us, but for the good of those around us as well. Every time we yield to Him and trust in His timing, we become part of a greater narrative that is unfolding for His glory. The beauty of God's work is that it doesn't rely on our understanding of it. Even when things don't make sense or when they feel like they are falling apart, God is still working, arranging, and preparing things that are beyond our comprehension. We often get caught up in the way we think things should happen, in the timing we expect, and in the answers we anticipate. But God's plan operates on a different level. His perfect plan is often more expansive and more far-reaching than we could ever imagine. He sees things from an eternal perspective, and His ways are designed to bring about the greatest good, not just for us, but for all of creation. We have a choice in how we respond to the situations that arise in our lives. We can either choose to trust in our own strength and understanding or choose to trust in God's perfect will. When we choose to trust Him, we are acknowledging that He is the one who knows what is best for us. We are letting go of our need to control every situation and instead allowing God to lead us, even when we don't fully understand the way forward. Trusting God in these moments may not be easy, but it is in those moments that our faith is strengthened. It is when we are stretched beyond our limits that we experience His provision, His guidance, and His peace in ways we would not have if we had not walked through the trial. God's work in our lives is not always instantaneous. We often want things to happen quickly and we pray for immediate answers, but sometimes His process takes time. It is in the waiting that we are refined. We may grow impatient, but we must trust that His timing is always perfect. While we wait, God is preparing us for what is ahead. He is working behind the scenes in ways we cannot see, laying the foundation for the next season of our lives. It is in the waiting that our hearts are shaped, our character is tested, and our faith is deepened. When we look back at the waiting seasons, we often realize that it was during that time that God was doing His most profound work. We are called to walk by faith, not by sight. This means that we are to trust God even when we cannot see the next step in front of us. We walk in the assurance that God is leading us, that He is guiding us with His wisdom, and that His purpose for us is greater than anything we could ever plan on our own. It is in the unseen that God does His most powerful work. He is always moving, always shaping, always refining, even when we cannot see the progress with our eyes. Our role is to stay faithful, to continue trusting, and to keep our hearts aligned with His will. God is faithful to finish what He starts. If He has begun a good work in you, He will see it to completion. This promise is one we can hold on to, knowing that God will never leave us halfway through the process. He is a God of completion, and everything He begins, He will bring to fulfillment. As we trust in His work in our lives, we can have confidence that He will carry us through every challenge and bring us into the fullness of His promises. When we encounter struggles, it is not a sign that He has abandoned us. Rather, it is a sign that He is actively working to bring about His purpose. We must also remember that God's work in our lives isn't just about us. It's about the impact He wants to make through us, The trials we face and the victories we experience are not just for our personal growth, but are meant to be a testimony to others. Our lives are meant to reflect His glory, and the work He does in us is meant to be a beacon of hope to those around us. As God works in our lives, we become vessels of His love, grace, and power. We are called to share the story of His faithfulness, to speak of His goodness, and to be a living testimony of His transformative power. Trusting in God's work means trusting in His ability to do what He says He will do. It means believing that His promises are true, even when we cannot see the end result. It means surrendering our will to His and allowing Him to work in us and through us. It means being patient, waiting on His perfect timing, and believing that He is always moving in our lives, even when we don't see it. As we come to the end of this message, it's important to remember the truth that has been shared. God is working on your behalf. In every season, through every trial and triumph, God's hand is at work, orchestrating a plan that is beyond your comprehension. His ways are higher than our ways, and His timing is perfect. Even when you don't see immediate results, know that He is preparing something greater for you. You are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way, shaping, refining, and guiding you toward His perfect will. Trust in His process, trust in His timing, and trust in His promises. When life seems uncertain, keep your faith strong and hold on to the truth that God is always at work in your life. So hold fast to the belief that God is working on your behalf. Let this truth be a source of hope, strength, and encouragement. Trust that the best is yet to come, and as He completes the work He started in you, you will become a living testimony of His power, love, and faithfulness. Keep walking by faith, knowing that God's perfect plan is unfolding before you. There comes a time in every life when we stand on the edge of a vast divide between what we desire and what seems possible. Logic, reason, and the world around us all tell us that what we want cannot be. The mind, conditioned by years of limitations, tries to persuade us that it's unrealistic, unattainable, or too far out of reach. Yet deep within, there is a voice that whispers of possibilities beyond what the eye can see. That voice, however faint, speaks of a reality that only the heart knows. But how do you hold on to a dream when everything outside of you denies it? How do you nurture faith when reason, facts, and evidence stand against you? It is in these moments of contradiction, when what we see and experience appears to defy what we deeply wish to manifest, that the true power of belief comes alive. It is not the easy belief that comes when everything aligns. It is the unwavering conviction that you must cultivate when everything seems to fall apart. Today I will take you on a journey into the heart of belief, where the power lies not in what is seen, but in what is felt. The outer world may deny your desire, but your inner world has the ability to reshape it entirely. Let us explore the art of holding fast to that vision, even when reason argues otherwise. When the outside says no, let your inner world echo with a louder, stronger yes. This is the power that shapes destinies. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a concept that requires more than just understanding. It demands practice, patience, and unwavering faith. It is not simply imagining that you have achieved your desire, but actually living as if you have already attained it, embodying the emotions and sensations of your fulfilled dream. To truly grasp this idea, you must realize that it goes beyond mere visualization. It is about entering a state of being where your desired outcome feels as real to you as your current reality. The challenge for most people is bridging the gap between the life they are living and the life they want to create. The external world provides evidence that often contradicts the desires of the heart. We see the lack, we experience the frustrations, and we feel the distance between where we are and where we wish to be. But this gap is only as real as we allow it to be. The power lies within you to blur the lines between your present and your desired future by immersing yourself fully in the feeling of already having what you seek. Imagine for a moment that your greatest desire has been fulfilled. How would you feel? What would your day look like? How would you interact with the world? The answers to these questions are not abstract. They are the foundation upon which you build your new reality. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to embody those emotions and behaviors right now, regardless of what your current circumstances show you. This practice is not about ignoring reality or pretending that difficulties don't exist. Rather, it's about choosing to prioritize your inner state over the external conditions. When you make the conscious decision to align your thoughts and feelings with the outcome you desire, you begin to shift the energy around you. The world reflects back to you what you believe, not what is currently happening. Your belief becomes the lens through which reality unfolds. This is not an easy practice. It requires consistency and a deep sense of trust in the unseen. The logical mind, trained to rely on facts and evidence, will resist this process. It will argue that you cannot live in a state of abundance when your bank account shows otherwise, or that you cannot feel love when your relationships are strained. But this is where the true power of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled comes in. You must learn to override those thoughts and emotions that contradict your desired state and instead dwell in the certainty that your wish is already a reality. One of the most effective ways to begin this process is through the use of imagination. Imagination is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It allows you to explore possibilities that are not yet visible to the naked eye. By vividly imagining yourself in the life you desire, you are not simply daydreaming, you are actively creating a new reality. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It accepts whatever you consistently feed it. This is why the practice of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is so powerful, because when done consistently, it reprograms your subconscious mind to align with your desired outcome. Take time each day to immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine yourself already living the life you want. Feel the emotions of success, happiness, love, or abundance. Let those feelings wash over you as if they were already present. The key is not just to visualize the details, but to connect emotionally with the experience. Your emotions are the fuel that drives manifestation. When you can feel the joy, peace, or fulfillment of your desired outcome as if it were already true, you are aligning yourself with that reality. There will be times when doubt creeps in, and you may find yourself pulled back into the old patterns of thinking and feeling. This is normal. It is part of the process. The key is to recognize when this happens and gently guide yourself back into the state of fulfillment. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Over time, it will become easier, and you will notice that your external reality begins to shift in subtle yet powerful ways. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled also requires a level of detachment. This does not mean that you stop caring about your desires, but rather that you release the need to control how and when they will manifest. When you are deeply immersed in the feeling of already having what you desire, you no longer feel the urgency or desperation that often accompanies unfulfilled wishes. You trust that what you seek is already yours, and that it will come to you in the perfect time and way. This detachment allows you to remain calm and centered, even when the outer world does not immediately reflect your inner state. It is important to remember that the outer world is always a reflection of your inner world. If you are constantly focused on what is missing, on the lack or the struggle, that is what will continue to show up in your life. But when you shift your focus to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe that this is your new reality. The more you live in this state, the more the world will conform to match it. Another crucial aspect of this practice is persistence. Manifestation is not an overnight process. It takes time for the outer world to catch up to the inner shift. There may be moments when it feels like nothing is happening, and the temptation to give up will be strong. But this is where persistence comes in. You must continue to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. This unwavering belief is what eventually brings the manifestation into form. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a transformative practice. It challenges you to step beyond the limitations of logic and reason and into the realm of infinite possibilities. It requires you to cultivate a deep sense of trust in your own power to create reality. But once you master this art, you will find that life unfolds in ways you never thought possible. The world will reflect back to you the truth of your inner state, and you will experience the joy and fulfillment of living the life you once only dreamed of. The power of inner conviction is the foundation upon which all manifestations rest. It is the unwavering belief that what you desire is not only possible but inevitable, regardless of the external circumstances or the opinions of others. Inner conviction is more than just positive thinking or hope. It is a deep, rooted certainty that transcends doubt and fear. It is the inner knowing that your desires are already yours and that the universe is merely catching up to your belief. At its core, inner conviction is a state of mind where your belief in your desired outcome becomes so strong that it overrides any external evidence to the contrary. This conviction comes from a place deep within, where your true power resides. It is the force that propels you forward, even when everything around you seems to contradict your desires. When you cultivate inner conviction, you tap into a well of strength that allows you to persist through obstacles, setbacks, and delays. The challenge for many people is that they base their beliefs on what they can see and experience in the physical world. They allow their circumstances to dictate their level of faith in their desires. If things aren't going well, they lose hope. If they face obstacles, they begin to doubt whether their dreams are possible. This is where the power of inner conviction becomes crucial. It requires you to shift your focus from the external world to your internal world, to place more value on your belief in the unseen than on the evidence of the seen. Inner conviction is not something that comes overnight. It is a practice, a skill that must be cultivated and nurtured over time. It begins with a decision to believe in yourself and your desires no matter what. This decision must be firm and unwavering, because the external world will often challenge your conviction. There will be moments when things don't seem to be working out, when progress seems slow or non-existent. And it's during these times that your inner conviction will be tested. But this is also when your conviction has the power to grow stronger. The secret to developing inner conviction lies in the understanding that reality is not fixed. The world around you is constantly in a state of flux, responding to your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. What appears as solid and unchangeable is, in fact, malleable and subject to your inner state. When you hold a firm conviction that your desires are already on their way to you, the universe begins to reorganize itself to align with your belief. Circumstances, events, and people will start to shift in ways that bring your desire closer to you. But how do you cultivate this powerful inner conviction? The first step is to become aware of your current beliefs and thought patterns. Are they aligned with what you desire, or are they focused on what you lack? If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, or uncertainty, it's important to recognize that these are not reflective of reality. They are simply reflections of past conditioning. The beauty of inner conviction is that it allows you to rewrite these old patterns and replace them with new, empowering beliefs. Once you've identified any limiting beliefs, the next step is to consciously choose new ones. You must begin to tell yourself a new story, one where your desires are not only possible but already on their way to you. This isn't about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something you don't. It's about gently and consistently reinforcing the idea that you are worthy of your desires and that they are attainable. This is where the practice of visualization and affirmation comes into play. When you visualize your desired outcome, you are not just imagining it, you are creating it in the realm of the unseen. The more vividly you can imagine yourself living in the reality of your fulfilled desire, the stronger your conviction will become. Visualization allows you to experience the emotions, sensations, and joy of having what you want, even before it physically manifests. This emotional connection strengthens your inner conviction, because your mind begins to accept the reality of your desire as true. Affirmations are another powerful tool for building inner conviction. By repeatedly affirming that your desires are on their way, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind to accept this as your new reality. It's important that these affirmations are not just empty words, but statements that you deeply believe. Even if you don't fully believe them at first, with time and repetition, they will begin to take root in your mind and become a part of your belief system. Another key aspect of cultivating inner conviction is learning to detach from the how. One of the biggest obstacles to strong conviction is the tendency to obsess over how your desire will manifest. The mind wants to figure out every step, every detail, and every possible outcome. But this need for control can actually weaken your conviction. because it places the focus on doubt and uncertainty. When you are constantly trying to figure out the how, you are essentially telling yourself that you don't trust the process. To cultivate strong inner conviction, you must learn to let go of the need to control the details. Trust that the universe or the larger forces at play will handle the how. Your only job is to hold the vision of your desire, to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and to trust that the path will reveal itself. This doesn't mean that you sit back and do nothing. It means that you take inspired action when it feels right. But you don't force or manipulate the process. One of the greatest gifts of inner conviction is the sense of peace it brings. When you truly believe in the inevitability of your desires, you no longer feel the need to worry, rush, or struggle. You know that what you seek is already yours, and this allows you to relax into the process. You stop trying to control every aspect of your journey, and instead you allow things to unfold naturally. This state of calm and trust is not only more enjoyable but also more powerful, because it aligns you with the flow of the universe. The power of inner conviction lies in its ability to transform both your inner and outer world. When you hold firm in your belief, when you refuse to be swayed by circumstances or appearances, you become a powerful creator of your own reality. The world will bend to match your inner state, and what once seemed impossible will become inevitable. The key is to believe so deeply, so fully, that nothing can shake your conviction, not even reason, logic, or the doubts of others. This is the true power of inner conviction, and it is available to anyone who is willing to claim it. Mastering the art of imagination is a powerful key to unlocking the life you desire. Imagination is not just a tool for daydreaming or escaping reality. It is the creative force behind everything that manifests in your world. Every great achievement, every invention, every work of art, and every fulfilled desire begins with imagination. When you learn to consciously direct this inner power, you hold the ability to transform your circumstances, reshape your life, and bring your desires into physical form. Imagination is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the gateway through which you access infinite possibilities. It is where all creation starts. Most people use their imagination unconsciously, letting it be guided by past experiences, fears, and limiting beliefs. But when you master the art of imagination, you take control of this creative faculty, using it to mold your future rather than being shaped by your past. To truly understand the power of imagination, you must first realize that it is not limited by your current circumstances or the physical world. Imagination allows you to step beyond the boundaries of what seems possible and explore new realities. Through imagination, you can access experiences, emotions, and states of being that have not yet manifested in the material world. This is important because the mind does not distinguish between real experiences and imagined ones. To your subconscious, what you vividly imagine is just as real as what you perceive with your senses. The key to mastering the art of imagination is learning to use it deliberately and consistently. It's not enough to simply imagine something once and then forget about it. You must engage your imagination regularly, feeding it with the images and emotions that align with your desires. This is the process of mental creation, where you begin to construct the reality you want to live in. The more you immerse yourself in these imagined experiences, the more they become a part of your belief system, and eventually they begin to manifest in your external world. One of the most important aspects of this practice is to use your imagination from the end result, not from the place of lack or desire. Many people make the mistake of imagining their desires as something far off in the future, something they hope to achieve one day. But to truly master imagination, you must step into the feeling of already having what you want. When you imagine yourself as already living in the reality of your fulfilled desire, you activate powerful emotional and mental states that accelerate its manifestation. For example, if your desire is to experience financial abundance, you must imagine yourself already enjoying the freedom, security, and peace that comes with financial wealth. What does it feel like to be financially free? How do you act? How do you move through the world? What kinds of thoughts fill your mind? These are the kinds of questions that guide your imagination. The more vividly you can paint this picture in your mind, the more real it becomes to you, and the faster your outer reality begins to align with it. Another essential element of mastering imagination is to engage all your senses in the process. Don't just visualize your desires, feel them, hear them, taste them, and even smell them. The more sensory detail you can include in your imagined experience, the more powerfully it impacts your subconscious mind. For instance, if you are imagining your dream home, don't just see it in your mind's eye. Feel the warmth of the sun streaming through the windows, smell the fresh flowers on the table, hear the soft music playing in the background. Engage all of your senses as if you were physically there. Imagination is not limited to specific desires or goals. It can also be used to shift your state of being in any moment. If you are feeling anxious or stressed, you can use your imagination to transport yourself to a place of peace and calm. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in a serene environment, perhaps sitting by a tranquil lake or walking through a lush forest. As you immerse yourself in this imagined experience, your body and mind will begin to respond as if you were actually there, helping you shift your emotional state. This is the power of imagination. It creates real effects in both your inner and outer world. The more you practice using it consciously, the more control you gain over your emotional and mental states, and ultimately over your life. As you become more skilled in the art of imagination, you'll find that you can create your desired reality with greater ease and speed. Another crucial aspect of mastering imagination is learning to guard it against negative influences. Just as you can use your imagination to create the life you want, it can also be used unconsciously to create unwanted experiences. When you allow your imagination to be filled with fear, doubt, or worry, you are directing this creative force toward the manifestation of those negative outcomes. This is why it's essential to become mindful of where your thoughts and imagination are directed. To safeguard your imagination, you must be intentional about the thoughts and images you entertain. If you catch yourself imagining worst-case scenarios or dwelling on negative possibilities, gently redirect your mind toward what you want to create instead. And train yourself to think and imagine only in alignment with your desires. This takes practice, but with time you'll become adept at recognizing when your imagination is being misused and correcting its course. A powerful technique to enhance your mastery of imagination is the practice of mental rehearsals. This involves regularly rehearsing in your mind the experiences you want to have in life. Just like an athlete mentally rehearses their performance before a game, you can mentally rehearse your desired life. If you want to excel in a particular area, spend time each day imagining yourself already performing at the highest level in that area. Feel the emotions of success, satisfaction, and accomplishment as if it were already happening. The more you rehearse these experiences in your mind, the more your subconscious accepts them as true, and the more you begin to act in ways that align with that reality. Imagination is also deeply tied to faith. When you imagine something, you are engaging in an act of faith. You are choosing to believe in something that has not yet appeared in the physical world. This is why imagination requires a certain level of trust and belief in the unseen. As you practice using your imagination, your faith in its power will grow, and you'll begin to see tangible results in your life. Mastering the art of imagination is not just about achieving specific goals, it's about transforming the way you live. When you become skilled in directing your imagination, you are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You realize that you are the creator of your reality and that nothing is beyond your reach. The possibilities are truly limitless when you understand how to use your imagination to shape your life. Ultimately, imagination is a gift, a divine tool that allows you to tap into the infinite potential of the universe. It is your personal canvas on which you can paint the life of your dreams. The more you master this art, the more empowered you become to create a life that reflects your highest desires and aspirations. When you understand that your imagination is the seed of all creation, you realize that you hold the key to manifesting anything you want. Mastering the art of imagination is mastering the art of life itself. Detaching from the external world is a profound practice that allows you to move beyond the surface level distractions of life and connect with the deeper, more powerful essence of your being. In a world constantly pulling your attention in 1,000 directions, learning to detach is essential for aligning yourself with your desires and manifesting the reality you want to experience. The external world is filled with fleeting appearances, temporary circumstances, other people's opinions, societal expectations that can easily cloud your vision and distract you from the inner work that truly shapes your life. Detaching doesn't mean withdrawing from life, it means reclaiming your inner power by no longer being overly influenced by external conditions. The first step in detaching from the external world is to understand that everything you see, hear, and experience on the outside is a reflection of your inner state. What you perceive as the external world is really just a projection of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. When you grasp this truth, you start to see that your circumstances are not as fixed or as concrete as they may seem. They are malleable, changeable, and ultimately shaped by the energy you hold within yourself. By detaching from the constant fluctuations of the outside world, you create space to shift your inner reality, and as a result, your outer reality follows suit. One of the reasons detachment is so powerful is that it breaks the cycle of reaction. When you are overly focused on the external world, you are often reacting to events, people, or situations, allowing them to dictate your thoughts, feelings, and actions. This reactive state keeps you bound to the external, making you feel as though you are at the mercy of your circumstances. You may find yourself feeling stressed, anxious, or frustrated because you believe that your happiness and fulfillment are dependent on what happens around you. Detachment frees you from this loop. Instead of reacting to the world, you begin to create your reality from within. Detachment allows you to see things as they are, without attaching meaning or emotional weight to them. For instance, when something unfavorable happens, such as a setback at work or a disagreement with a loved one, detaching means observing the situation without letting it shake your core sense of peace. You recognize that external events are just passing experiences. They do not define who you are or your potential to create the life you want. Detaching from the ups and downs of life allows you to maintain an inner equilibrium, a centeredness that is unshaken by temporary challenges. A crucial aspect of detaching from the external world is learning to let go of the need for validation or approval from others. Many people become attached to the opinions of family, friends, or society, letting those external voices dictate how they feel about themselves and the choices they make. This attachment creates a dependency on outside validation, which can trap you in a cycle of trying to meet others' expectations, often at the expense of your own desires and happiness. Detaching from the need for approval empowers you to follow your inner guidance, to trust yourself, and to live authentically. When you no longer seek validation from others, you find freedom and confidence in living true to your values. Detachment also plays a significant role in the manifestation process. One of the key principles of manifesting your desires is learning to detach from the outcome. This means that once you have set your intention and done the inner work to align with your desire, you must release your attachment to how or when it will manifest. Many people struggle with this because they become fixated on a specific outcome or timeline, and when things don't happen exactly as they imagined, they lose faith. But true detachment is about trusting that the universe knows the perfect way to bring your desire into being, even if it doesn't unfold in the exact way or time frame you expected. Detaching from the outcome allows you to relax into the flow of life. It frees you from anxiety and impatience, and it creates an open space for the universe to work its magic. When you are overly attached to a specific outcome, you can actually block the manifestation process by holding on to doubt or fear. But when you detach, you are signaling to the universe that you trust in the natural unfolding of your desire, and this trust accelerates the manifestation process. Practicing detachment does not mean becoming indifferent or passive. On the contrary, it involves an active engagement with your inner world. Detachment is about focusing your energy inward, cultivating a state of inner peace, trust, and alignment with your higher self. It is about taking full responsibility for your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, and understanding that these inner states are what create your outer reality. Detaching from the external world gives you the clarity to see beyond appearances and to connect with the deeper truth of who you are and what you are capable of. A practical way to begin detaching from the external world is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you quiet the noise of the outside world and connect with your inner stillness. When you meditate, you learn to observe your thoughts without attaching to them. This teaches you that you are not your thoughts, and you are certainly not defined by the external conditions of your life. You are the observer, the creator, the consciousness behind it all. This realization is the foundation of detachment. Detaching also requires cultivating a deep sense of faith and trust in the unseen forces that are always working in your favor. This means surrendering control over how things will happen and trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly, even if it doesn't always seem that way on the surface. Faith is a powerful aspect of detachment because it allows you to release the need for immediate results and to rest in the knowing that your desires are being fulfilled in the perfect way at the perfect time. Another vital element of detachment is practicing gratitude for the present moment. When you are constantly focused on what is happening in the external world, you may overlook the beauty and abundance that already exist in your life. Detaching from external circumstances allows you to appreciate what you have right now, without needing anything outside of yourself to change in order to feel fulfilled. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from worry to peace, and this shift in perspective aligns you with more positive experiences. As you detach from the external world, you begin to realize that true fulfillment comes from within. No amount of external success, material possessions, or approval from others can give you the lasting happiness and peace that comes from being deeply connected to your inner self. Detachment allows you to live from a place of inner power, where you are no longer swayed by the changing tides of life. You become the steady presence in the midst of it all, grounded in the knowledge that you are the creator of your experience. In essence, detaching from the external world is about reclaiming your inner authority. It is about recognizing that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a powerful creator capable of shaping your reality from within. When you detach from the noise of the outside world and focus on your inner state, you align yourself with the true source of your power. You step into a place of inner peace, clarity, and strength, where you can manifest your desires with ease and live a life that is in harmony with your highest self. Aligning emotion with desire is one of the most powerful techniques in manifesting the life you want. At its core, this practice is about creating a deep emotional connection to what you desire, long before it shows up in your physical reality. It's about learning how to feel as though you already have what you want, generating the emotional state that aligns with the outcome you wish to experience. This is crucial because emotions are not just fleeting feelings, they are powerful forces that shape your inner world and consequently your external reality. Many people focus solely on thinking about their desires, but thoughts alone are not enough to manifest your goals. The key lies in combining your thoughts with the right emotions, as emotions carry a much stronger energetic charge than thoughts. They act as the bridge between the mental and physical realms, making your desires feel real and tangible. This emotional alignment sends a clear signal to the universe that you are ready to receive what you want. When you align your emotions with your desires, you are essentially practicing living in the end, feeling as though your wish has already been fulfilled. This is a profound shift in consciousness, because it moves you from a state of lack to a state of abundance. Instead of focusing on the fact that you don't yet have what you want, you shift your attention to the feeling of already having it. This creates a powerful magnetic force, attracting the desired outcome into your life. One of the reasons emotional alignment is so effective is because emotions are the language of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't understand concepts like time or distance, it only responds to the emotional states you consistently cultivate. When you feel joy, excitement, gratitude, or peace in relation to your desire, your subconscious mind begins to accept these emotions as your reality. It then works tirelessly to align your external world with these internal states, creating circumstances and opportunities that bring your desires to fruition. To align your emotions with your desires, it is essential to become aware of your current emotional state. Often people experience conflicting emotions about their desires. For example, you may desire financial abundance but simultaneously feel fear or anxiety about money. These conflicting emotions can create resistance, slowing down the manifestation process. The first step toward emotional alignment is to acknowledge and release any negative or limiting emotions you may have regarding your desires. This may involve confronting beliefs of unworthiness, fear of failure, or doubt about whether you can truly have what you want. Once you've cleared these emotional blocks, the next step is to consciously cultivate the emotions that match your desired outcome. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I already had what I want? Would you feel relief? Excitement? Joy? Contentment? Whatever those feelings are, start practicing them now in the present moment. This may seem counterintuitive at first, because we are conditioned to believe that emotions follow external events, meaning we will feel happy once we have what we want. But the truth is, the opposite is true. You must feel happy first in order to attract the circumstances that align with that happiness. There are many ways to cultivate the emotions that align with your desires. Visualization is one of the most effective tools. By vividly imagining yourself in the situation where your desire has already manifested, you can begin to generate the emotions that come with it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and picture yourself living your dream. See it, hear it, and most importantly, feel it. As you visualize, pay close attention to the emotions that arise. Are you feeling a sense of accomplishment? Gratitude? Freedom? Hold on to those feelings and allow them to wash over you. Another powerful method is practicing gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational emotions you can experience, and it has a magnetic quality that attracts more of what you appreciate into your life. When you feel grateful for something before it arrives, you are signaling to the universe that you are already in alignment with that experience. Start by expressing gratitude for what you already have, and then extend that gratitude to your desires as though they have already been fulfilled. This practice shifts your focus from lack to abundance, helping you align emotionally with your goals. Affirmations are also a helpful tool in aligning your emotions with your desires. When you repeat affirmations with conviction and feeling, you begin to reprogram your subconscious mind to accept your desires as your reality. The key to effective affirmations is not just the words you say, but the emotions behind them. For example, saying "I am wealthy" will have little impact if you don't feel emotionally connected to that statement. But when you say "I am wealthy" and allow yourself to feel the excitement, security, and freedom that wealth brings, you create a powerful emotional alignment with that desire. It's important to note that emotional alignment does not mean forcing yourself to feel happy all the time or pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. Instead, it's about gently guiding your emotions toward the state that matches your desires. If you're feeling discouraged or frustrated, allow yourself to feel those emotions without judgment. Then gradually shift your focus towards something that brings you a sense of relief or joy. Even a small emotional shift can have a profound impact on your ability to manifest your desires. Persisting beyond doubt is one of the most crucial elements in the manifestation process. Doubt is a natural part of the human experience, especially when you're working towards goals that seem far beyond your current reality. It can arise from past experiences, societal conditioning, or fear of failure. But to bring your desires into fruition, you must learn to move through doubt and persist in the unwavering belief that your vision will manifest, no matter how impossible it may seem in the moment. Doubt, in many ways, can be seen as the opposite of faith. When you doubt, you are entertaining the idea that what you want may not come to pass, that the universe may not be working in your favor, or that you might not be capable or worthy of receiving what you desire. These seeds of doubt can quickly grow into significant barriers if left unchecked. However, when you persist in the face of doubt, you are signaling to the universe, and more importantly to yourself, that you are committed to your vision no matter what external appearances or inner fears arise. The first step to persisting beyond doubt is understanding that doubt is not inherently bad or wrong. It's simply a part of the mind's natural defense mechanism, an attempt to protect you from disappointment or failure. Your mind wants certainty, and when it doesn't have it, it tries to create stories or explanations as to why things might not work out. But doubt only has power if you let it. If you see doubt for what it is, a fleeting thought, a protective instinct, you can acknowledge it without letting it control you. One of the most effective ways to persist through doubt is to remember that the external world is a reflection of your inner state. Just because your current circumstances don't align with your desires doesn't mean they never will. Many people give up on their dreams because they allow doubt to convince them that what they want is too far out of reach. But the truth is, external circumstances can change in an instant. What seems impossible today can become possible tomorrow if you hold fast to your belief. Persistence is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is important to recognize that doubt often arises when there's a gap between your current reality and your desired reality. This gap can feel intimidating, but it's crucial to not allow that discomfort to derail your efforts. The gap itself is simply an invitation to grow, to evolve, and to expand your faith in what is possible. The key is to keep moving forward, step by step, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Your persistence in belief creates momentum, and over time, that momentum will carry you toward your goal. One of the most powerful tools in persisting beyond doubt is the practice of visualization. When you visualize, you immerse yourself in the experience of already having what you desire. This practice is not just about seeing your desired outcome, it's about feeling it on a deep emotional level. When you can feel the emotions of having your desire, even when doubt creeps in, you are reinforcing your belief in its eventual manifestation. Visualization can help anchor you in the truth of what you want, making doubt feel less relevant and less powerful. Affirmations can also be highly effective in persisting beyond doubt. When you regularly repeat positive affirmations that reinforce your belief in your desires, you begin to shift your mental and emotional state toward faith. For instance, if doubt arises about your ability to succeed, repeating affirmations like "I am capable, I trust in the process," or "my desires are manifesting perfectly" can help counteract those doubtful thoughts. The more you affirm what you want to believe, the more you reprogram your mind to align with your goals, rather than your fears. Another vital aspect of persistence is maintaining a sense of trust in the timing of your manifestations. Doubt often arises because we expect results within a specific time frame, and when those results don't appear as quickly as we'd like, we start to question whether our desires will ever come to fruition. But the universe operates on its own perfect timing. Just because something hasn't manifested yet doesn't mean it won't. There's always a reason for the timing of events, even if that reason isn't immediately clear. Trusting in divine timing allows you to relax, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When doubt becomes overwhelming, it's essential to remember that persistence doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive or denying your emotions. Persistence means staying the course, even when doubt is present. You can acknowledge doubt without giving it power. Instead of fighting against doubt or trying to eliminate it completely, allow it to be there while continuing to focus on your desired outcome. The key is not to get stuck in the doubt, but to let it pass through you while you remain anchored in your faith. Doubt also presents an opportunity for growth. Every time you encounter doubt and choose to persist anyway, you strengthen your mental and emotional resilience. You learn to trust yourself and your ability to navigate challenges. Over time, you may even find that doubt becomes less frequent and less intense as your faith in yourself and your manifestation process deepens. It's also helpful to look at doubt as a signpost, a signal that you are on the verge of something significant. Often doubt arises most strongly just before a breakthrough, because the mind is sensing that you are about to step into a new reality, one that is outside of your current comfort zone. When doubt appears, rather than seeing it as a reason to stop, you can choose to see it as a signal that you are getting closer to your goal. Surrounding yourself with a supportive environment can make a significant difference in persisting beyond doubt. Whether it's friends, mentors, or a community that believes in the power of manifestation, having people who encourage you can help you stay the course when doubt tries to take over. Even if others around you don't fully understand or support your goals, connecting with like-minded individuals who share your belief in manifestation can provide the reinforcement you need to continue persisting. Celebrate small wins along the way. Persistence is not just about waiting for the big manifestation to arrive, it's about recognizing and appreciating every step forward. Each time you make progress toward your goal, even if it seems small, take a moment to acknowledge it. This helps build momentum and reinforces your belief that you are moving in the right direction. Over time, these small wins add up, and before you know it, you'll find yourself living the reality you once only dreamed of. Persisting beyond doubt is about choosing to believe in your desires, even when the evidence isn't yet visible. It's about maintaining faith, trusting the process, and recognizing that doubt is a temporary feeling that does not define your ultimate success. Through practices like visualization, affirmations, and trusting in divine timing, you can navigate through doubt and continue moving toward your goals with confidence. With persistence, you transform doubt from a barrier into a stepping stone on your path to manifestation. Reprogramming the subconscious mind is one of the most profound and transformative processes in personal development and manifestation. The subconscious mind governs the vast majority of our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, often without our conscious awareness. It's like the hidden engine driving our life experiences. To manifest the life we truly desire, it's essential to align our subconscious programming with our conscious intentions. This requires intentional effort to replace old limiting beliefs and patterns with empowering ones. The subconscious mind operates on a different level than the conscious mind. While the conscious mind is rational, logical, and deliberate, the subconscious is more like a vast storehouse of memories, emotions, and deeply ingrained beliefs. It is also extremely powerful, processing information much faster and more effectively than the conscious mind. However, because it runs on autopilot, we are often unaware of the deeply held beliefs and habitual thinking patterns that may be holding us back. One of the key reasons reprogramming the subconscious mind is so important is that it controls up to 95% of our daily thoughts, feelings, and actions. This means that even if we consciously want something like success, happiness, or love, if our subconscious beliefs are at odds with those desires, we may unconsciously sabotage ourselves. For example, if someone consciously desires financial success, but holds a deep-seated belief that money is hard to come by or that they are unworthy of wealth, they may struggle to attract prosperity, no matter how hard they work. To truly change your life, you must change the subconscious patterns that dictate your reality. The good news is that the subconscious mind is highly receptive to new programming, especially when approached in a way that bypasses its resistance. The process of reprogramming involves creating new neural pathways, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones, and making these new thoughts and behaviors automatic. With time and repetition, these new beliefs become second nature, allowing you to create a new reality in alignment with your deepest desires. One of the most effective methods of reprogramming the subconscious mind is through repetition. The subconscious mind learns through repetition, which is why habits, whether positive or negative, become so deeply ingrained over time. By consistently affirming and visualizing the new beliefs or outcomes you want to manifest, you begin to override old patterns. Repetition can come in the form of daily affirmations, where you repeat positive statements about yourself or your goals until they become a natural part of your belief system. For instance, if you want to manifest a healthy relationship but have always struggled with feelings of unworthiness, you can reprogram your subconscious by repeatedly affirming statements like, "I am worthy of love," or "I attract healthy, loving relationships into my life." Over time, these affirmations help to replace the old narrative that may have been rooted in self-doubt or past experiences of rejection. The more you repeat these affirmations, the more your subconscious mind begins to accept them as truth. Visualization is another powerful tool for reprogramming the subconscious mind. Visualization involves vividly imagining yourself already living the life you desire. The subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between real experiences and imagined ones, so when you visualize your desired outcome with strong emotion, you are effectively tricking your subconscious into believing that it's already happening. The more you immerse yourself in the feeling of already having what you want, the more your subconscious mind will align with that reality. For example, if you are trying to manifest career success, you can spend time each day visualizing yourself in your dream job. Imagine the details of the environment, the interactions with colleagues, the feeling of fulfillment and pride you experience. As you do this, you begin to build a new belief in your subconscious that this reality is possible for you. Over time, your subconscious mind will begin to guide your thoughts, actions, and even opportunities in a way that aligns with this vision. Another critical aspect of reprogramming the subconscious mind is identifying and releasing limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are deeply ingrained thoughts or assumptions that we have accepted as truth, even if they aren't serving us. They often stem from past experiences, cultural conditioning, or inherited family beliefs. These beliefs can operate quietly in the background, influencing your choices and experiences without you even realizing it. To reprogram your subconscious, it's essential to become aware of the limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. This often requires introspection and self-awareness. One effective method is to reflect on your current challenges or areas of life where you feel stuck. Ask yourself what beliefs or assumptions you might be holding about these areas. For example, if you've been struggling financially, you might uncover beliefs like, "Money is scarce, I don't deserve wealth," or "It's impossible to succeed in this economy." Once you've identified these limiting beliefs, you can consciously replace them with more empowering ones. Hypnosis and self-hypnosis are also powerful techniques for accessing and reprogramming the subconscious mind. Hypnosis works by putting the conscious mind into a relaxed, suggestible state, allowing direct access to the subconscious. In this state, you can introduce new beliefs and ideas more easily, bypassing the resistance that often comes from the conscious mind. Many people find hypnosis helpful for releasing deep-rooted fears, changing habits, or shifting long-held negative beliefs. Self-hypnosis can be practiced at home by listening to guided recordings that help induce a trance-like state. In this relaxed state, you can introduce affirmations, visualizations, or new beliefs to the subconscious mind. This method allows you to work directly with your subconscious, making it easier to create lasting changes in your thinking and behavior. Meditation is another effective tool for reprogramming the subconscious mind. During meditation, you quiet the conscious mind and enter a deeper state of awareness, where you can connect with your subconscious on a more direct level. Regular meditation helps you become more aware of your thoughts and patterns, giving you the ability to consciously shift your focus toward what you want to manifest. In addition, meditation helps to calm the nervous system and reduce stress, which can enhance your ability to reprogram the subconscious with positive beliefs. Consistency is key when reprogramming the subconscious mind. Just as it took time for old beliefs and habits to form, it will take time to install new ones. You must be patient and persistent in your efforts. Daily practice of affirmations, visualizations, meditation, or self-hypnosis will gradually reshape your subconscious programming. Over time, these new beliefs and patterns will become automatic, guiding your life in the direction of your desired outcomes. It's important to trust the process of reprogramming the subconscious mind. Sometimes it can feel like nothing is happening, especially if you're not seeing immediate results. But the subconscious mind works behind the scenes, often in subtle ways. As you continue to reinforce new beliefs, your outer world will gradually begin to reflect these changes. The key is to stay committed to your practice and trust that the subconscious is always working to bring your desires to life. Reprogramming the subconscious mind is a powerful tool for creating lasting change in your life. By aligning your subconscious beliefs with your conscious desires, you can break free from limiting patterns and manifest the reality you truly want. Through techniques like repetition, visualization, meditation, and hypnosis, you can reshape your inner world and, in turn, transform your outer experience. The journey of reprogramming the subconscious requires patience, consistency, and faith, but the rewards are immeasurable, as it allows you to step into your full potential and create the life of your dreams. In conclusion, the power to manifest your desires lies within your ability to reshape your inner world. By living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, harnessing inner conviction, and mastering the art of imagination, you align yourself with the reality you wish to create. Detaching from external circumstances and aligning your emotions with your desires are crucial steps in this process. Persisting beyond doubt, even when logic and reason suggest otherwise, allows you to maintain faith in your vision. Reprogramming the subconscious mind through affirmations, visualization, and consistent effort is key to aligning your beliefs with your goals. This journey requires patience, persistence, and unwavering belief in the power of the unseen. As you align your inner world with the life you want to create, the external world begins to reflect your inner transformation. Every thought, feeling, and belief becomes a building block toward manifesting the reality of your dreams. Trust in the process, commit to your inner work, and watch as the world aligns with the fulfillment of your desires. The creative power of your mind is limitless. What you can imagine, you can achieve.
You're listening to Inner Guidance Channel.
Many months ago, I asked a very simple question. Why? Why did you create the universe? Just why? I never doubted that there is a God, for I've stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days. But why? And the voice came from the very depth, hatching, just hatching. So the very end of it all is hatching. Hatching what? He's hatching out himself. Who, by looking at a little worm, one of these little caterpillars, could ever predict his future as a painted butterfly? Who, by looking at an egg, not knowing the contents, could predict the beauty of the peacock, or maybe another beautiful, beautiful bird? Who, by looking at man, could predict Jesus Christ? Who in this world, by looking at man, could see that man is but the egg, and out of man will come Jesus Christ? Not one will fail, for his purpose is that not one will be lost in all my holy mountain. But within the framework of his purpose, you and I can take the same technique, and we cannot fail. Now, it is for hatching. Well, we are not nesting correctly if we ever fall asleep in any nest other than the feeling of the wish fulfilled. For at night all the birds return to their nests. Through the day they have intervals upon that nest. You go out to make a living in the world of Caesar, and you may forget. And numberless things may happen that cause you to even forget for a moment that there is such a thing as a nest. But you must remember that there is on that nest that you built, as you prepared it, or you conceived it. It's a deliberate, constructive plan on which you will sit. As we are told in Habakkuk, I will stand upon my watch and see what the Lord will say unto me, and what I will answer. The next verse, every seed really, has its own appointed hour. For he's telling us that all the visions, well, the vision is simply your little seed or your egg. The vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late. Habens 2:3. For there are different time intervals for all the different eggs of the world. I may have an egg based upon a yearly income, or an egg based upon a weekly income, or a monthly income. If I take it over a long period of time, well then wait. If the first day, week, month, or even the first 6 months are slow, but I am faithful to that egg, which is a yearly income, at the end of the year I will look back upon the most fantastic year I've ever had. So in the course of a day I will fly from that nest and do all kinds of things and forget. But at night let me return to that nest and keep that seed warm, keep that egg warm, and then do, as we're told in Habakkuk, I will stand upon my watch, and I will watch to see what the Lord will say unto me, and what I will answer. Well then, the Lord is simply the whole vast world pushed out, for the Lord is I am. So I am sitting on this state, and then I look upon my world. My world is myself fragmented, and that is what the Lord is saying unto me. When I think of my friends and see them mentally in my mind's eye, what are they saying? Are they congratulating me? Am I accepting their praise graciously? Well, then I will now sit upon this nest and fall asleep in this assumption, in this state. For I am standing upon my watch and watching to see and to hear what the world, the Lord, will say unto me, and what I will answer. What is my response when they say what they must say, seeing me as their friend, so successfully lifted up in this world? So if you will do that, night after night, no power in the world can stop me from bringing forth from that egg which is simply my assumption. All that it is implying, if I will do it. I may leave it and not really sit upon the egg. We have seen that in all the barnyards of the world, for eggs are dropped, and no one thinks in terms of ever warming them or incubating the egg. But you and I, if I know what purpose really means, purpose in the strict sense, is a deliberately conceived plan proposed for action or executed in it. I plan a campaign. And that action, but not only the action, something must be executed in it. Why am I planning the campaign to sell merchandise? I plan a campaign or plan the campaign of war. Why? That I may be victorious in this action. So I will execute this plan in the action that I have now proposed. Well, the action is simply, this night I will stand upon my watch and watch to see what and hear what he will say unto me, and how I will answer, knowing in my heart that the vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. And if to me it seems long, then let me wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late. So I simply stand on my nest and go to sleep in that state. If in the course of a day I can't come back to it too often, it wouldn't addle. If I am faithful night after night, it will not addle. Just before I came on the platform, not more than 1 minute before, my very dear friend, who is here this night, she said, about 2 years ago, a friend of hers won what she called, I have never heard of this award before until tonight, it's called a Lulu. It's like an Oscar in the fashion world. And so, it is given to some lady in the fashion field, whether you be in department stores, TV, radio, well, any aspect of displaying your fashion. She said when the friend won it, I'll win one too. She did it just as lightly as that, but she did something about it, and tonight she brought it. It's in her purse, this lovely Lulu. It's a little statuette, a first prize for her work. Only recently has she joined the May Company. And so for the May Company, she's been doing all of their displays, all of their advertising, and she won the Lulu. Just did it naturally. And this is not just for this city. Every state west of the Mississippi is within that picture of the Lulu. So I tell you, sit upon your nest and let it hatch out. Everything comes out this way. But if you don't have a definite objective, well, you can't, so that you either succeed or that you fail. But God has a purpose, and his purpose is to bring forth from man Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is God himself. He's bringing out of us Jesus Christ. He will not fail. As we are told, as I have planned it, so shall it be. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. Exodus 14:24. And the anger of the Lord will not turn back until he has executed and accomplished the intents of his mind. In the latter days you will understand it clearly. Jeremiah 23:20. In the latter days you will understand why you went through all the things in this world, because out of you is coming, actually coming, Jesus Christ. He could not emerge from man were he not actually present in man. So at this very moment he's buried in every being in the world, and God is bringing him forth. When he brings him forth, he brings forth himself, and it's you. But while he is bringing him forth, he has given us his own talent, the talent of using our imagination to create everything in this world. A letter given me this past week from this young lad who is here tonight. He said, I found myself in the high school, and my teacher was the Latin teacher. Her name was Miss Divine. And as I entered, there was an examination taking place. And so I sat, and on the board were 2 columns. There were 21 problems. On the right side, there were from 0 to 10, say 11 problems. On the left side, from 11 to 20. Down in the middle of the column on the right side, there were 2 words that I had to define. They were separated by a word which I couldn't quite discern, but the 2 words were crucifixion and resurrection. The left-hand column, there were from 11 to 20, and I couldn't discern the words save 2, and the words were map and route. And so I took my paper. I began to define crucifixion, and I defined it by quoting the words of Paul from the 2nd chapter of Galatians. I have been crucified with Christ. It is not I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Verse 20. That's how he put down the definition of crucifixion. Then he discovered that his paper wasn't big enough for all the answers, so he turned to Miss Divine. Bear in mind the name of this teacher, Divine. So he turned to Miss Divine and asked her for permission to go and get a piece of paper. She said to him, "Go to my desk and get a piece of paper." So he did. He came back with a larger sheet. On his way back, he realized that in his pockets were all the answers to all these questions on a smaller piece of paper. So he sat down and tried to transfer from the smaller piece of paper to the test paper all of the answers. And then, suddenly, the test was halted, and then all the test papers were collected. Then Miss Divine began to read the answers as she got all these test papers together. And she turned first to the left-hand column to the words map and route, and she said, "Neville Goddard has the map and the correct route. If anyone wants the map and the correct route, let them go to Neville Goddard." With that, it was all dismissed, and then he took his papers and tore them up into shreds and started towards the exit to throw them into the wastebasket. She asked him for the papers. At first he said no, and then she glared at him, and with that he gave her these torn pieces of paper. Then with his books in his hands, towards the exit, he walked out saying to himself, "I am expelled." Then it was early in the morning, so he woke, wrote the whole thing down in detail as I've just told it to you, and then fell asleep. And this is the epilogue. The epilogue is marvelous. He heard a voice, and the voice was the voice of the broadcaster, the announcer of the Angels, the baseball game. Bear in mind, they're the Angels, not the Dodgers, they're the Angels. And this Don Whale thought, he said, "This is the fourth game that the Angels have played in the last 24 hours, and there are 400 people present. The fourth game in 24 hours, and there are 400 people present." Well, 400 is the numerical value of the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Tau, and it has the symbolical value of a cross. Remember, he defined only one word. He defined crucifixion. The 400 were present, so he defined the crucifixion in his test. And then there were 4 games, that's the 4th letter, which is Daleth, which is a door. He said, "I am the door. Anyone who comes through any other way other than through this door, and I am the door, is a thief and a robber." John 10:9. 24 in the mystical Hebrew is a horse. It's quote, and that is the mind. The whole thing is coming out of the mind of man. It's the mind that man has to control. That is the horse, the unbridled beast that must be broken in by man and ridden by man himself. And so he found the horse, told in the form of a number, in 24 hours. He found the door, "I am the door," in the form of a number, 4 games. You wouldn't play 4 games in 24 hours, and then there were 400 people present. They do get very, very small audiences, I grant you that, but not 400. They haven't fallen that low. But bear in mind, they were angels. They were not Yankees, not these angels. All of this is symbolism. Well, what strikes me forcefully in the entire picture is not that Miss Divine, there's the name, she's the teacher, said that Neville Goddard has the map and the correct route. I love that in the picture. But what really to me is significant in the entire vision is his quote from Paul in the definition of the crucifixion. "For when I stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days, and he asked me, 'What is the greatest thing in this world?' I too," quoted Paul. "I answered in the words of Paul, 'Faith, hope, and love, these 3 abide, but the greatest of these is love.' 1 Corinthians 13:13. At that, infinite love embraced me, and I fused with him and became one forever with the body of God. And I wonder, after his letter to me, do we all answer in the words of Paul? I'm asking a question. He shared with me his experience. I hope you will share with me your experience when a similar vision takes place with you. For I answered in the words of Paul, and he answered in the words of Paul. He answered the one question, the crucifixion, and it came up in the epilogue. There were 400 people present at the angel game, and that's the crucifixion. And so, when you think the greatest figure in Christendom is Paul, really, who has done for Christianity what Paul has done? You ask yourself 1,000 times over, who then is the one who first awoke? Who is he that awoke? If we read the Gospels, and the evangelists are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, anonymous names, unknown, completely unknown, no one knows who they are, and then you ask yourself this question concerning this fantastic creature that is Paul, the little one. Paul means little, and he is the little one. Then he tells you that I am a descendant of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin means son of the right hand. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thee at my right hand until I make of thy enemies a footstool for thee. Hebes 1:13, Mate 22:44. You ask, all kinds of things go through the mind concerning who is this one that we call the little one, that is Paul. He never denied his faith. In fact, he insisted that his religion was not a new religion, it was the fulfillment of one as old as the faith of Abraham. He never gave up the Hebrew religion. He only saw the flower, the fulfillment of it. To him, the whole thing was the unfolding of all that was prophesied and promised to Abraham. So, Christianity was simply the fulfillment of the faith of Abraham. We have in the Western world these three great religions. The religion of Islam, which is complete kismet, fatality, complete. They call themselves, most of them are named, and there are 400,000 of them. Abdullah, slave of Allah, complete slave of Allah. Then comes this great rock, the Hebrew religion, and it begins with faith, Abraham. He believed the promise made by God would fulfill, and he was able to fulfill it. And the promise was an heir. All the way through, the promise continues in changing form. I will raise up after you a son that will come forth from your body. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. 2 Samuel 7:12. That's the promise made to us. Raise up out of us a son that will be God's son. God will be his father, and that which he pulls out of us will be his son. Something so unlike the form that we see here. And unlike the form called man, as the butterfly is unlike the caterpillar, as unlike this glorious winged creature to the egg. So we are told in Philippians, our country is in heaven, from which we await a Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, who will reform and change our lowly body to be like his glorious body by the power by which he is able even to subject all things to himself. Phil Bafra 3:20. The word translated, change to be like, means literally to be of one form with him. Actually, something is coming out of every being in this world that is Jesus Christ. And the form is that glorious form that is the form of God. Return unto me the glory that was mine, the glory that I had with thee before that the world was. John 17:5. So he gives man himself. He brings out of man his egg himself. He is hatching it out, and he is faithful. All he's asking of us that we be as faithful, or try to be as faithful as we can, to our modified desires, as he is to his grand scheme, which is to bring forth out of man himself. For he's bringing out of man himself. No one's going to fail because we aren't doing it. But while he's bringing it out, he's asking us to take the talent that he gave us, while we are being turned over and over in this world, to take that talent and become what we want to be in this world. Do it for ourselves or do it for others. You can take any being in this world if you are faithful. And the faithful time is when you have the unbroken few hours of the night. just as you are settling down to retire into the deep. And you know the day's over, and you're simply going to relax into some state. Take that moment and then stand upon your watch and view the world to see what the Lord is going to say unto you. The Lord, being the fragmented I am, everything that you're doing, you're saying, I am doing it. So that's the Lord viewing his fragmented self. And see what it is saying to you. Is it sympathizing? Get off that nest. Is it now with great empathy? All right. Good. Are they rejoicing with you, all of them, because of your good fortune? Stay on that nest and go sound asleep, viewing the world from your watchtower, knowing in your heart that what you are sitting on mentally has its own appointed hour. It is ripening, and it will flower. And if to you, because of your anxiety, it seems long, you know you must wait, for what you're doing is sure, and it will not be late. So we're told that his promise is faithful and sure. These promises are not some little thing done because of some emergency. They were done of old, and they are faithful and sure, we are told. Not something that suddenly, because of some plan in the world of man, that God is now instituting some emergency thinking. No, his plans are of old. Man is allowed all the freedom in the world to make all the mistakes in the world. Perfectly all right. He will correct it. He doesn't condemn man, he corrects man. He corrects all kinds of things, but allows us within the framework of his purpose to do anything in this world that we desire. He doesn't have the same code that man tries to impose upon man. He allows us quite a wide range of everything in this world. So I say God has a purpose, and his purpose is to bring forth himself out of his egg called man. But while the egg called man is living in the world of Caesar, he allows it to use a certain talent. The talent is the gift he gave of himself, which is man's imagination. Man can take his imagination and create anything in this world. You think of this story of the Lulu. For here is a lady who only recently started working for the May Company. And how many artists must there be between the Mississippi and the West Coast who simply wanted that? This is a fist prize. This is not something down into the bottom of the barrel. This is the Lulu. I never heard of it until tonight, so she brought it in her purse and picked it up. It's like an Oscar. It is an Oscar to those who are in her profession. And this covers the entire waterfront. This is not confined to department stores. It isn't confined to TV or to radio or to moving pictures, but to every aspect of the art world where ladies are involved in fashion. And she gets it. She's only been there a few months, and she gets it because she wanted it, and she knows the principle. And the others, who I think by her own confession will be equally talented, they didn't know the principle. So they didn't sit upon the nest and simply view it as she did. So she sat upon the nest. So I say to every one of you, don't get off that nest until it hatches out, and then go for a bigger nest and a still bigger nest. If anyone tells you that you shouldn't want things, turn a deaf ear to them. Completely turn a deaf ear to them. You're not going to be enslaved by things if you know this principle. You'll get things and be quite willing to drop them on the way, but you'll simply test your talent. You're exercising your talent. And a talent that isn't exercised is like the limb that is not exercised. It atrophies, it does. And so, day after day, you must take your dreams, your noble purposes, and simply settle down and nest them, and simply bring them to pass in your world. Everyone will hatch out, for we are told, not one is lost in all my holy mountain. Not one child born of woman will ever fail to bring forth what God has demanded. And God demands only one thing. I will raise up out of you a son that will come forth from your body. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. That son will say of his father, I and my Father are one, because he is the creative power and wisdom of God. John 10:30. So when he comes forth, personified, he will say of the very power that drew him out of that body, I am the power and wisdom of God. 1 Corinthians 1:24. I am he, you are he. and everyone will come out, not one will fail. So I tell you, try it. Try it over and over and over, and don't ever admit failure. Don't for one moment admit it. The most impossible thing in this world, still try it. For here, we will not accept paganism. We will start with Israel. That's where the whole creative world starts, really, and it's based upon faith. Christianity is the fulfillment. If an Orthodox Jew will not believe that it happened, all right, he will eventually. At least he has the faith that it is going to happen. But I tell you that it has happened. But I will go back now to that definition of my friend Tom with the crucifixion and go to another aspect of it, which you find in the 6th chapter of Romans. He took his from the 2nd chapter of Galatians, but the 6th chapter of Romans, if we have been united with him in a death like his, we shall certainly be united with him in a resurrection like his. Verse 5. So now Paul, the same grand Paul, is now saying to his, what he calls my son Timothy, and he said, there are those who are teaching that the resurrection is past already. They are misleading the people and turning them from their faith. 2 Timothy 2:18. His condemnation of those who said it was past already, once and for all, is, well, you can't quite describe the condemnation, uncompromising. It's not past once and for all. It took place, it is taking place, and will continue to take place until everyone gives up that Son of God. It's the Son of God in man that is buried, that makes man alive. Were it not for the Son of God in man, then there would be no living being in this world. So if I have been crucified with him, all right, I have enjoyed that death. I'm crucified with him, and in that crucifixion I have union with him. Now certainly, I will also be united with him in a resurrection like his. Well, I can tell you from experience it has happened to me. So I know the joy of the union in my crucifixion with him. And I now experience the joy in my resurrection with him. It's one. I do not differ from any child that walks the face of this earth. We're all one. I can't share with you that body which he has transformed to be like his glorious body. I tried it once and didn't quite succeed in revealing the glory of the body that is one. But she is not far off from seeing it for herself. But here it's the most fantastic glory, the joy of this body. Human face, yes. I will recognize you? Certainly, forever and forever. But I can't describe the glory of the body. It's something entirely different. So we are subject to this humiliation of these bodies of blood, bodies of flesh, but not for long. And so if someone this night, like my friend Tom, who has had this experience, and you will say, well, why should he have it? No one knows Tom's background. No one knows how long he has been treading this winepress in this world. No one knows it. And so, if in many ways you may think he is young or even limited in expression, don't, because the minute it happens to one, limitations fall away. These things that seem so wonderful here that we acquired through labor will not be used, because it's all then a creative power in operation. So, don't judge anyone. And may I tell you, if perchance you should entertain such a thought, bear in mind the story of Job. Job's story is the story of man. Here is the most cruel experiment ever performed on an innocent being, that which is performed on Job. Job, in the very end, didn't condemn the Lord. He thought the Lord was justified in everything that he did. And then he turned from himself, for he felt sorry for himself, and he prayed for his friends. And as he prayed for his friends, his own captivity was lifted. Job 42:10. So turn from self to a friend and wish them well. Well, that's really what love is, to wish a friend well, and sincerely wish him well. May I tell you what will happen to you? You'll simply bloom. Out of the nowhere, things that are now hidden from you will come into view, and they're all yours by sincerely wishing a friend well. So when Job turned from himself and prayed for his friends, his own captivity was lifted. So that is what we're here to do. Turn to someone this night, I don't care who he is, who she is, and see them in your mind's eye in some blessed state, and feel the thrill that will be yours as a friend, because they are what you're now representing them to yourself as being. Someone once said, and for years I had to agree with them, and even to this day I would go along with them, that if someone is hurt, 1,000 will rush in sympathy. And if some member of the neighborhood falls heir to a fantastic fortune, you don't find the joy, you find envy. So we have so many words to express sympathy, compassion, and all these things, but possibly only one which is not a good word in a sense, because it isn't known. You speak of empathy. How many people even know what the meaning of the word is when you use it? So it isn't used. It's used in cultured society among the educated. They know the meaning of the word, but they don't use it because it's not in use. They will use it in their writing, and someone reading their works will rush to the dictionary for definition of the word. Because we're not given to rejoicing with those who have good fortune smile upon them. In fact, one of the disciples, whose name is only mentioned among the 12, he's not mentioned saying that he's one of the 12, is Thaddeus. And Thaddeus means praise. It's so little exercised by man that there is no story of Thaddeus in the Bible. He's only called. He has to be part of the awakened man. For the awakened man must have Thaddeus within him awake. But in the actual story, he isn't there. He's only named among them, and he's the 10th disciple, and the word is praise. How many of us can rejoice when we hear of the good fortune of another? We wonder, why didn't it happen to me? That's the reaction. You read in the morning's paper someone won $150,000 with a $2 bet, some daily double in Florida or someplace or down in Caliente, and instantly you say, I wish I had it. No one thinks of the joy in that household, that moment when he goes home to his family with $100,000 in cash. We think, why didn't I make it? So really, empathy is an empty word until it becomes so alive that we use it as frequently as we use sympathy. We can sympathize with one who lost his home because he had a hot tip and put the house down on the horse that didn't come in. We can sympathize with his wife at home who must now give up the house, but we cannot rejoice with her when he comes home with the fortune. So Job rejoiced in the good fortune of his friends, and as he did so, his own captivity was lifted. So to come back to our theme, which is God has a purpose. That end you can accept as Abraham accepted it. He heard the promise, he believed it. And then in spite of the hell of the 400 years in this land where he was a stranger, where he was a slave of slaves, he still remembered the promise. He believed the one who promised was capable of fulfilling that promise. And then he rejoiced that he was to see my day. He saw it and was glad. John 8:56. And went through hell faithful to the promise made to him by God. And so you become that. I tell you, he's coming out of you, one that is completely glorified, and the body he wears is the body of God. Not some little tiny thing. Something is coming out of all of us that is the most glorified thing in this world. It's an immortal body, and the body is the body of God. But before it comes out, and you wear it, and you are one of the immortals, while you are still telling the story and moving through the world of Caesar, use the same talent to play your own part of sitting on your nest. Night after night, take the most glorious idea. If you're in business, augment it, double it, treble it. Let no one tell you that you're too hungry, you're too anxious. Forget what they're saying. You double it. You're making X number of thousands a year. Double it, you treble it, and test God and see if it doesn't work. And so when you go to bed this night, you sit on your nest of an income and you name it. and then stand upon your watch and see what God is saying to you. And God speaks to you through the faces of every person in this world that you contemplate. So you think of me, and you've just written me the most fantastic letter of your good fortune, and hear me tell it from the platform. So think of me this night telling from the platform your good fortune. Think of your mother, if you have one in this world or if not in this world. She's still in this world, you know, for the world is simply sections within sections. So think of her. Don't think because she's not physically present, she's not aware of it. Think of her and let her see your good fortune. Let all of your friends see your good fortune. And go to bed sitting on that view of things, which view implies the fulfillment of your desire, and see how it comes to pass. It may take 24 hours. Some things hatch out in 24 hours. Some things hatch out in a week. Some things in a month, 6 months, a year. I do not know the time interval of your desire, but your desire, your mere wish, is an egg. You laid it. Your wish, you laid an egg. I mean in the true creative sense, not in the theatrical sense. And so, you have an egg, and then you simply sit upon your egg and bring it to pass. Let the whole thing come out in this fabulous world of yours. Now let us go into the silence.